like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are back for another interesting show. And we are going to be dealing with a reality that a lot of people will not want to look at, but that won't make it any less true. But here at the Roger Report Live, we give real perspectives, okay? We give real perspectives. Today we are dealing with working women are a sign of poverty. Yes, y'all, we're going to tell the truth, all right? We're going to tell the truth. Working women are a sign of poverty. Yep, that's what we're talking about. Working women are a sign of poverty. But before we get into this, okay, we want to take a quick moment out to say shout out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Of course, y'all are fam, and you'll always be appreciated. Shout out to the people who leave comments after the stream, because you guys help with the algorithm. It helps grow things. Plus, sometimes y'all even give me some good ideas about something I should do. Also, shout out to the people who hype me up every chance they get, man. Anything that helps the channel grow is a worthy, noble thing to do, because there's so many people who need this content. Shout out to the people who share the content, okay? And shout out to the people who hit that like button. Make sure you always hit that like button, y'all. It doesn't make a difference how long something been around. We hit that like button anyway. All right. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty. The people who become financial contributors over here at the Roger Report Live. You guys allow me to do things in a way that I just wouldn't be able to do without you. And I definitely appreciate that. So thank you for all you do. And shout out to everybody, y'all. And keep in mind, y'all, all money on the wood is good at the Roger Report Live. So we appreciate every single person. And want to say shout out to Dayu Amin Ra. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. He's been rocking with me for a long time. So shout out to Dayu Amin Ra. He is a sponsor of today's stream. Thank you very much. Now, let me give a couple of what's up to some of the first people to kick it over here at the Roger Report Live. Because when you start a show, y'all, it's always great to see a few people here. And y'all know how it go if you've been here. The first one in, we like to call the Highlander of today's stream. And shout out to the one, the only, Gyogami is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you, my brother. Glad to see you in the building. Glad to see you in the building. Shout out to my main man, following right behind him. Trail Bentley is in the house, representing as he always does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. We got my main man, Tunnel Runner, coming in behind him. Great to see you, my friend. Great to see you. The Great Black Reset is in the building. We got my main man, Compassionate Callous, in the house. Great to see you. Great to see you. We got all my hoes, the monetized, following him in. And my main man, No Placeholder, is in the building. Shout out to you all. Shout out to you all. And before we even get into that, y'all, got to give a couple of quick thank yous, man. Shout out to all my hoes, the monetized. You know, getting me off to the good start. And I do appreciate that, my brother. I do appreciate that, my brother. Y'all know before we even get the show kicked off good, when they start dropping them dollars, y'all know that's people showing some love. So you got to really, truly appreciate that. He says, yes, I am your ace. Yes, I am your ace already. You should be in be in YouTube jail all week. F the bear. Well, hashtag F the Bears. Hashtag happy MLK Day, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Real talk, real talk. And also, shout out to my main man, No Placeholder. He drops 50, y'all. Drops 50. Get me started off to a really good start. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. He said, your boy is certified, Roger. Happy MLK Day. Hashtag long live habitual line steppers. Hashtag brothers in the wilderness. Shout out to both these brothers and shout out to No Placeholder for getting his certification, y'all. I know that means a lot. Hey, you know what? Shout out to you. You know, all the hard work, the dedication that you put in to make this type of stuff happen, brother. Congratulations, my brother. And I'm going to say, keep on soaring. Keep on soaring. Because No Placeholder, brother, you just do us so proud, brother. You just do us so proud. You know, it's good to be around you, brother. Good to be able to call you fam. And real talk, real talk. Shout out to No Placeholder, y'all. Another certificate knocked out doing the thing. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. And shout out, now me personally, y'all, I don't celebrate holidays. I don't. Okay. But shout out to all the people who celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Okay. Shout out to all y'all. If there was a holiday to celebrate, okay. If there was one to celebrate, why not that one? Okay. You know, why not Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday? I mean, can you get a better holiday? Can you get a better holiday? I mean, if you're going to start giving holidays out, it's like one you should start with. Okay. One of the most important holidays that the country has to offer. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. family, right? Real talk. Shout out to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. family as well, y'all. Let us never forget, as they say, let us never forget All right. Now, we're going to get into it, y'all. We're going to get into it, okay? We're going to get into it. All right. Working women are a sign of poverty. All right. Now, I understand that people could have reactions to a title like that. And sometimes those reactions may not be that great. And I'm going to say shout out to Amazi. Great to see you, brother. Great to see you. I see Superstar Jay Quick done join us as well. My main man, Afro Merchant, is also in the building. Great to see you guys. Great to see you guys. Y'all, working women are a sign of poverty. Now, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. What do people want, man? What do people want? People want time. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And time is great to have. Nobody wants to be sitting somewhere being told they only got 3 days to live. We want time. Okay? It is a blessing to get time. Okay? We need to thank God for all the time that we do get. That's real talk. Okay? That's real talk. Now, what else do we want? We want money. Okay? We want money. And one of the hardest things to do is to have a whole lot of time with a whole bunch of money. Okay? A few people get it done here and there, but it's a hard thing to do. Hard thing to do. And shout out to the Great Black Reset is in the building. He say, I let no placeholder borrow $25. Well, you know what, Great Black Reset? All I can say is, if you let him borrow $25, you could take it either way. He put it to good use because he got his certification. So you can say he put $25 on his certification. Or you can say he gave $25. Well, you gave him $25 so he could send $50 to the Roger Report Live. I think either one's a great use. I don't know how you want to break it down. Okay, maybe $12.50 here, maybe $12.50 there. But either way you go, I think it was a fantastic use. Shout out to you, brother, and shout out to No Placeholder for being such a wise man with them $25. Real talk. Real talk, okay? Now, y'all, getting back to it, though. Before we get back to it, shout out to No Placeholder. Shout out to No Placeholder. He's like, no, he didn't, Raj. That's all my money, Raj. See, you got to be careful about telling stuff in public, y'all. People see. You got to be careful. When you say it in public, you can get caught up, and sometimes you get caught up quick. But shout out to both of you, brothers, man. I appreciate it big time. Real talk, man. I appreciate it big time. Oh. All right, Joe. Well, get back to it, though. Get back to it. All right, we got to be realistic, y'all. We want time and we want money, y'all. Okay, we want time and we want money. Those are two great things to have. And it's great to have a whole lot of time with a whole lot of money. Okay? It's something that rare humans get to experience, okay? Or it's a rarity in human behavior to get to, or in human civilizations to be able to experience that. Because when you think about every person who had a bunch of money and a bunch of time, you know, there's so many people who didn't. Okay, there's so many people who didn't. And I know in American culture, you know, we look at celebrities. Celebrities are always there. They're always on television. You know, now that we got social media, you'll see a lot of stuff with celebrities and things like that. And you know what? When you actually think about it, okay, now these are people with time and money. Okay, celebrities, they usually have time and money. All right. But when you really think about what a celebrity is, they don't even really exist. Okay, we see them all the time, yet they don't really exist. When you think about the percentage of the population celebrities would be, it is so infinitesimal. It's not even, you know, it's like a stat that don't matter, man. It don't even matter. Okay. It don't even matter. It's so few of them. They really don't even exist, even though we are much aware of something that, or a group that doesn't really exist. So most of us are going to be regular everyday people. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And when it comes to American culture, and I know it's similar in other places, but not quite the same everywhere you go around the world. So for America and the places that are similar, okay, there's a beautiful thing that goes on where men work. Okay. Men work and they provide for women that they love, or for some reason feel that woman is worthy of his provision. Okay. This is a real thing. A man provides for the woman that he feels is worthy of the trouble. Okay. Now, people make issues with different things, especially when it comes to black women and money. You know, black women make issues with it. And then there's even men who support them making issues with it. You know, people have talked about how black women, they have the least amount of money when it comes to, in comparison to other groups of people, which makes all the sense in the world to me, because when you start looking into things, you can see that black women are the least married group in the country. So it makes sense that they would be the least, the group with the least amount of money. That makes sense. That makes sense. And because y'all robots ain't took over yet. Now, I don't know if they're going to take over soon, but they ain't took over yet. So how do most folks earn their money? How do most folks earn their money? Most of us work for money. You have some people who have enough money where the money just working for them. And they ain't got to do all this stuff. They ain't got to do all this stuff. Okay. Most of us working for money. And I ain't saying it's a bad thing to be working for money. But let's keep it real. As a woman, it is a sign of poverty. Now, some people going to say, because there are dummies out there who don't understand what a general statement is. And they be like, well, all women don't work for money. This is a statement by a stupid person, because a stupid person thinks when you talk in general, you're talking about every single person. That's what dumb people do. And there will be dumb people who say stuff like that. Okay. But for the intelligent folk, we got to accept a reality. Working women are a sign of poverty. All right. Now, this is not to accuse people of things. It's just about keeping things real. All right. But hold up one moment. Hold up one moment. Shout out to Elder Blood. He comes through with a super chat. Thank you, Elder Blood. Thank you, Elder Blood, very much. He said Adam was the husband. The serpent was the boyfriend. And Eve was the problem. Black women today are still the problem. This is history and religion. Shout out to Elder Blood. Striking hard and fast. I'm striking hard and fast. Shout out to you, Elder Blood. Shout out to you, Elder Blood. That's a serious super chat right there, y'all. That's a serious super chat. But some of those things will correlate to some of the stuff I'm saying. You definitely should be able to see the perspective. So shout out to Elder Blood. Okay. Now, let's keep it real, y'all. Let's keep it real. Okay. You're always gonna have more poor people than rich people. That's just the way it goes. Okay. You're gonna have more poor people than rich people, because it is difficult to get rich. You got to have somebody who has enough money to give you money to make you rich, or you got to create some type of idea. You got to create some type of system where you could end up becoming rich, or you got to perform at a level that can provide riches for you. or you got to steal somebody else's thing so you can get rich off of it. Okay? Getting rich ain't the easiest thing in the world to do. That's why everybody ain't rich. Okay? And no matter how many people gain a certain amount of money, being rich will always be the higher of the group. Just the way it works. Because if you gave everybody $1 million, having $1 million would not make you rich. And there's people who perceive $1 million as rich. Some people now perceive $1 million as not quite rich, that you still got to get to. You still got to get to riches. If all you got is $1 million, you ain't really there yet. And there's a lot of good reasons why people say stuff like that. So now, let's think about women working. All right. And I understand this may rub somebody the wrong way. It may get under somebody's toes, but we got to be realistic about what's going on. As a man, when you find a woman that you deem is worthy, you have no issue being a protector and provider. This is something most men don't have an issue with. Now, if you are a protector and a provider, you're also supposed to be a leader. Now, I'm going to say there are some men who are going to have a problem being the leader of a woman. Yes, a lot of men, because of the way they was raised and the society that we live in America, they do not want to deal with the leadership that they're supposed to have in the Black community. Okay? Some of these hoes done got them convinced they should be everything but a leader. Yes, protect them, provide for them, but don't you dare think about leading them. And there's a word that kind of fits them. Okay, it's a word that kind of fits them. It's called sucker. Okay. Those are the men who believe that regardless of how much you protect and provide, that you should never leave. Those are called suckers. That's a good word to explain who they are. Now, every man has a right to be a sucker. All right. I know some people, y'all gonna look down on them, but every man has a right to be a sucker. This is America. You can work hard and give everything away if you want to. All right. So let's look at this from a realistic standpoint, y'all. You have men that do not have an issue protecting and providing for women that they feel are worthy. Okay. And that's whether he's an actual leader or not. Okay. America pushes this very heavy. Black women push this very heavy. All right. So think about it. If a Black woman is working, why is she working? Now, I've said many a time, a lot of reasons that Black women go to college is to avoid listening to a Black man. She's trying to avoid Black male leadership. This is still true. Okay. And it's going to be true for a long time, I'm sure. Okay. If the world don't come to an end, it's going to be true for a long time. But shout out to Bruce on Wayne. Okay. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. He said, hashtag all my hoes demonetized. Hashtag Desaline lives. Hashtag Desaline lives on. Closed legs don't get fed either. Hold a baby or a blicky. Hashtag no free meal for hoes. Hashtag no country for old hoes. Shout out to Bruce on Wayne. Shout out to Bruce on Wayne. Well, as I was getting to, that kind of go with that, and that kind of goes with that as well. Look, y'all, let's be realistic about this. When men have the ability to be able to protect and provide, when they find women that they believe are worthy of this, they're going to protect and provide for her. Okay, so why are so many Black women working, y'all? Same reason a lot of other women are working. but not really. There can be some similarities, but not quite the same. Okay, you can be similar. But why a lot of black working women? Because they poor. Okay, let's keep it real. Now, I put a link in the description. I put one link in. Okay, celebratory link. If you saw it, you got Keke Palmer talking about Ice Cube, right? Okay, shout out to Ice Cube. Ice Cube was giving her the game. Okay, Ice Cube, good black man, looks out for black people. You know, especially in today's time, a great black man who looks out for black people. And she says how, Ice Cube gave her the game. She was only like 14 years old. Said, hey, you got to watch how people looking at you. You growing up, you becoming a young woman. Okay. Ice Cube putting up on game. And she said it stuck with her. Now, I hope it did. Because to be able to get some advice right out of Ice Cube's mouth is a privilege. So I hope it stuck with her. Okay. Shout out to her. All right. But even as I put that clip in, because, people need to hear more and more how black men do great things on a regular basis. Now, you could also look at Keke Palmer and say, well, Keke Palmer worked. Well, Keke Palmer's living an exceptional life. The average person cannot be an actor or actress, and the average person is not going to be rich. Now, Keke Palmer was able to achieve those things, so she is not the rule. She is an exception. Okay? Ice Cube is not the rule. He is an exception. And even though I put that clip in to honor the greatness of Ice Cube, I do want people to remember that those are exceptional people. The rule is, if she's working, she's poor. Now, poverty can be a mental thing, and it also can be a physical thing. And unless you change mentally, it's hard to get to change the physical. Okay? So, in reality, with men being willing to work and provide for women, why are women working? Let's think about this, y'all. Why are women working? Now, a lot of people say, well, they're working because, back in the day, people had to go to war. While the men was at war, the women started taking on jobs, and that's why they work. No. That's why they was working during that time. That's why they were working then. We decades away from that. Okay, that ain't why they working now. It was why they was working then. Yeah, the factory had to keep going. I get it. You buy into the factory had to keep going. The men weren't around to do it. Yeah, that's why they were working then. That's not why they working now. So why are women working now? They're working now because they are poor. And they're afraid of poverty. Working is something you do to fight poverty. Okay? Now, am I saying working is a bad thing? No. Men should work. Okay? That's what men should do. Because men are supposed to be able to protect and provide. And money helps you do that. Okay? Money helps you do that. Well, notice I said men are supposed to protect and provide. Yeah, that's generally not put on a woman. So why are women working? Because they're not working to protect and provide. Now, let's be realistic, y'all. When it comes to women, when they have money, do women like to take on the burden of being the protector and provider? Do they want to take that role? No, they don't. If they earn money, they usually just want some man who earns more than them. Okay? Now, the women who wants a man who earns less, when it comes to Black America, she's usually trying to control the man. She's trying to subjugate the man. She treats the man like trash. Now, if you look at how great Black men are, because we are the greatest men in this country, you can look at all types of stats to show you how great Black men are. But when you look at how we are, you got to think, why do Black women say some of the things that they say about Black men? especially when they have money. Even when they have money, they still talk down on black men. And they said he becomes controlling. A lot of people haven't figured out black women project. And the evil stuff that they say about a man with money is the stuff they literally do when they have money to a man. Or the stuff that they want to do to a man if she has money and he doesn't. And black women look for men who are in a compromised position. It's not a new thing. They prefer earning more money than you. Somewhere between 10 and 15,000 a year more makes them real comfortable. Okay? Now, even though they'll act like it's the worst thing in the world that they with a man who make less money than them, black women seek these men out. Okay? They seek out men who make less than them because they want to embarrass the man. They want to check the man. They want to destroy the man. They buy into all kinds of stuff about men. And they want to hurt them. That's just what it comes down to. They want to hurt black men. It is an honor, in their opinion, to be able to hurt a black man. Just is what it is. Now, I ain't saying it's got to be that way. That's just the way it is. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't tell them to do it. But people will get mad if you bring it up. You know, but it don't make it any less true. Now, what do women say they want to do? Okay. Matter of fact, let me look at this real quick. Shout out to Elder Blood. He say, Roger, I researched this as of late. I found the black man is the chief protector and provider, while the black woman is a general protector and provider. The lie is making protection and provision exclusive to men. Okay. Well, I mean, I do totally get where you're coming from. I do totally get where you're coming from. But what I'm doing, I'm looking at there's an actual mentality that black women have where they do not want to take the burdens of being the chief protector and provider in a home. They don't want that role. You know, and my thing is, I understand women don't want to take on a man's role. And I don't blame women for not wanting to take on a man's role. The crazy part about a lot of women is they want to take on some of men's role. And you know, they want to take what they believe is the nice part and then leave the other part out. which is crazy. Which is crazy. All right. So why do women work? Because there are men around who are willing to protect and provide for them. Let's be realistic, y'all. It's poverty. You have a poverty mindset. You're working because you believe you need to work, because no matter what people are saying in the world, the woman works because she feels that poverty is something she has to battle. All right? She feels that poverty is something she needs to battle. And the thing is, it's not necessarily about what's going on with her, with the people around her. It's her mentality. Yeah, think about this, y'all. Think about this. Women even get married, right? They'll get married, right? And they'll continue to work. Why are they doing that? Now, you will hear a lot of women, if you even listen to social media, you'll hear a lot of women say it takes 2 incomes to raise a family. The average home needs 2 incomes. No, it don't. Why you need 2 incomes? Let's be realistic, y'all. Why do you need 2 incomes? What's the point of having 2 incomes? You know, and people are saying this in the context of you have one person who earning some money, then you have a second person who earning some money. Why do people say that? Well, people say that because the income ain't big enough. That's what they say. They say you need 2 because it's a feeling, y'all. It's a feeling that the income is not enough. The income that's coming into the household is not enough. Now, let's get to reality. Do you need 2 incomes to a household? In reality, you don't. 1 income that's big enough will take care of a household. Now, you'll have women complaining that they have to work. Now, let's be realistic. If you're not married, you do have to work. All right? If you're not married, you have to work. Now, in America, unfortunately, there's people who are able to get on government systems, and I've heard of women being on systems even with no children. I don't know all the details about it or whatever. I probably never will because I'll never go to get on the system like that. Okay? But there's women who, for some reason, they don't have children, and yet they get subsidies and monies and things. I don't get it. Okay? But I told y'all before, if it were up to me, those type of things wouldn't even exist. Okay, you're supposed to you're supposed to do your own thing. That's how America's supposed to operate, not giving specified welfare. I'm cool with general welfare because general welfare means everybody can receive it. I am totally against specified welfare. Okay, it is what it is. So now you have women who are working because they feel poor. Now, are they poor? That depends. But you got women working because they feel poor. And like I said, there's even women who are married to men, and sometimes they work. Now, there can be a woman who's just working because she feels the work she type of do is a blessing, and she wants to, give that blessing to other people, but she wants to be financially compensated as she gives that blessing to other people. There are some women who think in those terms. Not many, but there are some women who think in those terms. I know I have something that I can bless people with, and I'm going to go out and give this blessing that God gave me to give to other people, but I still want to be financially compensated too. Okay? Now, shout out to Corpus, who almost get it, but don't quite get it. Shout out to Corpus. He say, nothing to do with poverty, and that's where you're wrong. He said she works because she doesn't want a man to tell her what to do. Now, yeah, that part is true. There are women who don't want men to tell them what to do, especially black women. He said, because if he pays, she has to listen to what he said, which is not true either. Okay? She should listen, but she don't have to listen. And yes, it does have something to do with poverty. If you didn't have a poverty mindset, you would not be afraid that your husband doesn't make enough. That's a poverty mindset. If your husband gets up and go to work on a regular basis and you're with him because you love him, you respect him, you believe he's a good leader, then you don't have an issue. It's only because you don't think those things as a woman that now you believe you have to work too, so you can be in conflict to your husband. Okay? Now, does it have to be this way? No, it doesn't have to be this way. There are women who actually love and appreciate their husband, and they will work for the betterment of their family. They're very rare, very rare. But y'all, if you look hard enough, just like I say I can find a guy with no legs, it just takes some effort. I can find a guy with no legs, okay? Now, I understand, a man should have legs. That's the first thing that hits people's minds. But if you gave me some time, I could come up with a guy who has no legs. The same way that you can find a woman who actually works for the betterment of her family. See, the reason a lot of women work because they refuse to work for the betterment of their families. A lot of them work because, number one, they don't want to listen to a husband. Okay? And I know some guys have been fooled into thinking women don't want to get married. No. They just don't want to listen to you. And if you marry a person, they understand their society will look at them in a certain way if they have a husband that they do not listen to. See, women ain't stupid, nor are women slow. They understand that if they marry a man that she does not listen to, that is her telling the world that I married a man who ain't all that. I married a man who is embarrassing to me. See, they get that. They know what they're communicating to each other. I've told y'all time and time again, people communicate in all types of ways, and it's not all verbal, but they understand the messaging. A lot of women understand if they marry a man that they refuse to listen to, they are admitting that their husband is trash. And that matters to them amongst the view of other women. That matters to them. I know we as men, we may not think about it, okay? But that matters to them. If she has a husband she won't listen to, she's admitting her husband trash. Now, to have a boyfriend she won't listen to, she thinks it does not matter because it's not a husband. She still can replace the quote-unquote boyfriend. She hasn't committed to the boyfriend. All right, she has wiggle room with a boyfriend. You got wiggle room with a fiance. But once it's your husband, when you don't listen to your husband, society in general will look at you as you are a problem. And a lot of black women don't want to marry a black man because they don't want to be seen as a problem in a marriage. And as I've been trying to tell y'all time and time again, which I know is hard for people to accept, black women is the most important thing. Black women's image is the most important thing to them. They will do all kinds of things that makes no sense at all over maintaining an image. So if you work as a woman and you get married, see, once you let the job go, that means I have faith in my husband that things gonna be okay. And a lot of men will have a hard time accepting these things because we have egos too. See, one of the two main things that mess up human is, we can't get past our own egos, and we refuse to accept that life ain't fair. But if you can get past your own ego and you can accept that life ain't fair, you can start to understand the world a little bit differently. Okay, you can understand the world a little bit differently. She works because she does not want to put her faith in her husband. And see, most working women ain't got no husband because most black women ain't married at all. So most of them don't have any husbands. So they do have to actively fight against poverty. And I'm not saying it's wrong for an unmarried woman to actively fight against poverty, because who gonna do the fight for her? She don't have nobody to do the fight for her. See, when you have no one, you got to do it yourself. That's just the way it is, which is why you see black women trying to convince black men that they're not married to do a whole lot of stuff that don't make any sense. Black women are in poverty. And they say that as if it's supposed to be a black man's issue. Black men ain't married to black women. Think about it. Collectively, black men are not married to black women. So whose problem is it that they in poverty? That's their husband's problem. Let's be realistic. If you're a grown woman, you live on your own or you live with some roommates, but you don't live with your dad. Whose problem is it that you don't have money? That's your husband's problem that you don't have. So it turns into your problem. But black women would say stuff to make black men feel bad for black women's decision to be poor. Okay? Because they don't have to be poor. They could just get a man and stop working. They can't. It has been black men's position since slavery came to its official end to keep their women from working because they want to protect her from the things that go on in the world. That has always been black men's collective position. Black men have never asked for black women to work collectively. It's just never happened. So why do so many of them do it? Because they are actively fighting against poverty. And they don't trust you. And I understand there'd be some black men, possibly even some married black men, who would start thinking about this and say, Roger, you way off base. No, I ain't off base. I'm just looking at reality. Okay? I understand a lot of women don't trust black men. Okay? That happens. A lot of times it ain't got nothing to do with you as a man. It's not about who you are. It's not about your character or anything like that. They are in a society that is designed to push against anything when it comes to black men. That's what America is. Our society pushes against black men. Now, shout out to Elder Blood one more again. He says, ultimately, whatever God commands and whatever black men establish and build, the black woman destroys. Black men need not fear hell when relying on black women's love of destruction. Elder Blood taking some serious swings today. You're taking some serious swings. But Elder Blood, I'm putting these things in a societal view to try to make it easier to understand for folks. Okay? And the thing is, what you're saying, it does relate to what I'm saying, because black women don't trust black men. All right? It's a lot of them that just don't trust us. Again, it has nothing to do with you as a black man. It has nothing to do with your character. It has nothing to do with your ability to get up and make stuff happen. It has nothing to do with the consistency you provide. Okay? Before irreconcilable differences came into play, y'all, keep this in mind. Before irreconcilable differences came into play, what was the biggest reason that women would get divorced? They would say finances and communication. That's what they would say. Now, why did they say communication? Because it's vague. That's why. Women like to be in an abstract world where you can't pin them down on anything. So they would say communication is a problem. Because saying communication is a problem is not really defining. That's not enough information to define the actual problem. Okay? Just saying the person doesn't communicate well is not enough to pin any problem actually down. You got to really get into what do you mean by communication. You got to really start getting into details for that to make sense. But just saying communication, no, that ain't really saying anything. Now, the other thing would be finances. Meaning what? My man don't make enough money. Okay, that's just what it is. Now, she knew about how much money he made before they got married. She knew what he was making while they was married. She had an idea what he was going to be making after they're not married anymore. Now, the fact that she will say finances is the problem is crazy work. Because you know all this stuff, yet you will say finances. See, the reality is most black women don't trust black men to do too much of nothing. And that's just what it comes down to. So working women are a sign of poverty. Okay? And when you think in an impoverished way, you tend to act in an impoverished way. Now, let's be realistic about this, y'all. Amongst black women, how come a lot of them when the ones who do get married, shout out to the to the few, the proud, the married women. when the few get married, a lot of them don't let their jobs go because there's a trust issue going on between her and the husband. Now, shout out to the women who say, "No, I'm gonna keep working until my husband tell me to stop, because I want to pour money into, whatever he wants us to pour money into. I love my husband. I trust my husband. I got my husband's back. I want to see what my husband wants us to build, and I'll put money into it until he tells me not to do it anymore." Now, shout out to those rare women who operate in that way, because there are women who work, but they work to make sure that their family is going to get to the next level according to what their husband has in his vision. Okay? But most of them ain't doing it for that reason. Most of them are just simply doing it because they don't trust they just don't trust their husband. It's that simple at the end of the day. Because if you trusted your husband, you could do what you wanted to do. Now, let's be realistic, y'all. From a human standpoint, do people want to work? Do people want to work? The answer for most people is no. People do not like working. There are some of us who get paid to do what we love to do. And usually we make a whole lot of money doing what we love to do. But most of us don't like working. Let's just be realistic about it, y'all. Now, if you like a singer or something, you grow up, you got this wonderful voice, and you always dream about singing, and you can make money as a singer, I ain't talking about them. Okay? If you love basketball, and you play basketball very well, and you get into the NBA, and you make multis of millions of dollars, technically it's your job, but that's something you love to do. I ain't talking about, see, those are people who are able to get paid from the thing that they're passionate about. But the average person in society is not making money off the thing that they are passionate about. I'm not saying this to put no one down. I'm just saying it because it's the reality. So why are women working in these things that they're not passionate about unless they poor? Let's think about it, y'all. What woman would do that job if she was rich? See, if you would do the job and you are rich, that's the exception to the rule, y'all. Most of us will not do a job if we were rich. Now, this very rare you'll hear a story every blue moon. You know, some person who won the lottery kept their job because they just love what they do. See, that's a person who has a passion about what they do. The average person is not working somewhere because of their passion. They're working there because it's what they can tolerate to provide the lifestyle that they're seeking. That's the reality. Now, men have a responsibility when it comes to work. So I'm not trying to say men shouldn't work. Okay, I'm not saying men shouldn't work. We have a responsibility to provide certain things. We got to make sure we take care of our wife. We got to make sure we take care of our children. You know, we give certain things to charity. Because remember, charity is not bad, y'all. Charity is not bad. It just should be recognized as charity. Okay? So why are women working? All right. Shout out to Chance Rogers. He say logic and common sense. You're actually right. Well, I appreciate you for noticing that, brother. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. Real talk. Real talk. Because ain't none of us, for the most part, have a job that we just get up every morning because we just excited to hurry up and get to work. That is not how most of us live. That's rare amongst people who work. That's very rare. And most of those people own the business that they work for, or they have part ownership in that business if they just can't wait to get to work. It is the thing that they're actually passionate about. Okay? Now, everybody's not going to necessarily be an owner. You know, I'm sure an NBA player is passionate about his job to go play basketball. You know? So why are women working? Because they don't want to take on the responsibility that men do as being the provider. They don't like that. Because you hear them all the time. I want a man who makes more money than me. So you don't want to take on the provider role. And for the women who do deal with a man who makes less money than her, especially if he doesn't really make money at all, she'll get into a relationship with him to bother him, to annoy him, to try to destroy his ego, to try to destroy his sense of self. Okay? And let's keep it real, to punish him, not necessarily for something he did. Sometimes she wants to punish him for stuff he ain't got nothing to do with. A lot of black women like to make more money than men so they can bully the man that they with. Let's just keep it real. It's so they can bully the man that they're with. They don't show the same love and respect that men show to women who make less money than us. You know, you you get with a woman who makes less money than you don't mind taking care of her because she's your woman. That's not how women operate. They like to make fun of the man who makes less than them. They like to be negative toward the man who makes less than them. They like to even embarrass the man who makes less than them. They don't do it how we do it. You know, we as men, we don't mind looking out for a woman who has less than us. We could meet some beautiful woman who works at McDonald's. We will not belittle her because she's working at McDonald's. We'll say, "Oh, okay, you are beautiful. Man, let me see if you have the right character about yourself. You will be a potential great mother. You are very attractive." Okay, see that we doing all this stuff in our heads. And y'all know how it is. You done been to fast food restaurants before. Y'all done seen some beautiful woman working in that fast food restaurant. You might have went through the drive-thru and she was working the window. But when she was really fine, let's be realistic, y'all. You're not gonna go to that same quote unquote McDonald's and see that fine woman working there too long. Why? Because somebody gonna say, hey, you know what? You look so good. You ain't got to worry about this. You so fine, just be mine. You ain't got to worry about this. This for women who can't make it. You need to get out that drive-through and come be mine, baby. You ain't got to worry about that no more. Just come be mine. We do that as men. Women don't really do that because they don't want the responsibility of being that quote unquote protector and provider. I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying what the reality is. And shout out to Bad Black Gamer. Thank you very much myself. He says black women quits black men over. Excuse me. Black women quits black men over money. Now she pay all herself. Dumb. Now shout out to you, Bad Black Gamer. Appreciate that. And thank you for that 57-cent Trail Bentley tax. And you know, I get what you're saying, brother. Yeah, she's with a black man. She don't have to pay all the bills. Very true. Now she leaves a black man and then she gets upset about paying all the bills. Because the thing is, she don't want to pay them bills. She wants a man to pay those bills. And that's something that they're just different than us, y'all. They just different than us. So why is a woman working? She working because she's so poor. And sometimes it's just mentally. Sometimes she literally could have money, but mentally she's so poor, she got to do it. She has to. You can't tell her that she can come off that clock and she be okay with it. She got to work because her mindset is, I'm poor. I don't care what you're saying. And you can't save a person from themselves. You can't. Now, I understand there's some men out here who got some working wives. I am not even saying it's your fault. But a lot of women just don't trust their husband. So they're going to keep working regardless. Okay? Now, that's different if you're a husband and you don't create a plan for your wife's money. If she's earning money, there should be a plan on how you're going to use that money to better the family. Now, if you are comfortable with her working because her money is being put into bettering the family, I'm with you all day long. Nothing wrong with that. But that's just not the case for most women. Most women are literally working because of poverty and their poverty mindset. But I'm going to turn the mic over because I got a guest up and I got a second guest coming up. So let me chill and let these brothers express themselves. So No Country for Old Hoes, you got the mic first. You got the mic first, and then we'll get Shark Sands right after you. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Happy Monday, Roger.
Happy Monday.
So I see that you wake up every day with a happy smile to go and to get on these hoes.
Hey, brother, I'm happy no matter what's going on in the world. That's all I'm saying.
It's MLK Day, and you're still stepping on their neck.
I don't see any necks under my feet, sir. That's what I'm officially saying. I don't see any necks under my feet, sir.
I came to realize that these hoes now, they are just obstacles. And sometimes even deadly obstacles. You know, they expect you to outwork them, make more money than them. But on the flip side, they are also competing against you for the same job that you are supposed to have as a man to take care of them, to quote unquote provide for them. You're taking my job. And you also want me to have more money than you. The math ain't mathing. But again, they are slow, they don't understand math. And that's a shame. So we're in a situation now where they've essentially put themselves in a not very envious way, not in an envious position. Because they cannot maximize their hypergamous nature. And also, I heard you said, oh, men would take the chick at McDonald's. In 2026, we're not doing this anymore. I'm sorry, but hypergamy only works because most men, they down. Most men will accept less. Oh no. So men in 2026, you're all papered up and bred up. You need a woman that equally papered up. I'm not saying that you cannot enjoy yourself with a McDonald's home. But this idea that you're going to settle down and make something with her, no, that's old. If you got bread like that, you work hard to say to make money. You should not be settling down for a bum. Don't allow yourself to be a savior of McDonald hoes. And I dropped the mic right there.
All right, Shark Sins got knocked off. I'm gonna bring him back up and let him get a word in. I'm gonna say I don't necessarily agree with all that, but I'm gonna give some reasons why in a minute. But here comes Shark. I'm gonna let him get the mic and do his thing. Shark, you got the flow, my brother.
Peace, fellas. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody out there.
Happy Martin Luther King Day, my brother.
Definitely. Um, I understand where you're coming from with it, but I think in these day and times, she does need to do something. Even if you got a job and she just agreed at Kmart or something like that, she does need a little bit of. She does need to do something with herself because stuff is expensive out here right now. But as far as I think the problem with them now is, I was thinking before I came up, I was like, remember when you was a kid and you used to get the green army men? You was good with that until you seen them goddamn GI Joes. I think I think these women, they have too much. They have so much access to stuff that they want everything. So now they get with a dude who's making $100,000 a year. He's not able to buy Chanel and all this dumb stuff, and then still go to Disney World twice a year, et cetera, et cetera. So I think they have high expectations of stuff that's been put in their face. Because back in the days, the black man wasn't making a whole bunch of money, and his wife was working, and it worked out fine. But now they getting these, and she was just at home clipping coupons, you know what I mean? But now they online and they seeing this chick with a Chanel bag, and they seeing this chick driving a G wagon, and they seeing this chick doing this and this chick doing that, and she says, "I want that, I want that, I want that." Even though she got a husband and they living cool, she will get a divorce from that man, and then think she's gonna find a $200,000 dude. You know what I mean? Why? Because she wants somebody that's gonna get her all of this stuff that she never even thought of before. She didn't even know Emilio Pucci existed. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what the biggest problem is. You got to get your female off of electricity, and you be all right.
I'll give it to this. I'm gonna say shout out to both of y'all. Appreciate y'all coming up, giving the word. Shout out to Elder Blood. He said say black women are notorious from cutting the strings of black men connected to God. She wants to be his God and have black men and have the black men bow down in reverence to her. Her God is white. Now I'm gonna say all y'all make some points. All y'all make some points, okay? But I'm gonna say this, y'all. This is the thing. A lot of black women are just simply ruled by a poverty mindset. And that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. And a working woman is a sign of poverty. It may not necessarily mean she is poor, because you could look at somebody like I said, Kiki Shepard works, but she's not poor because she's working in the movie industry. She's making big dollars. Okay. So it wouldn't necessarily fit her. But I'm going to tell you this. When you start thinking about the poverty mindset, the reason she will continue to work, I'm sure, based on what I know about her as a person, and I'm just saying based on what we get on kind of seeing, interviews, things she doesn't say, Kiki Palmer ain't gonna never stop working because she's always gonna be concerned with being poor. So I'm gonna say she ain't gonna stop working till she's an old lady because she's always gonna be concerned about being poor. And that's just the reality of it. See, you can make a lot of money and still be thinking about poverty. She does not expect to be with a man who's going to out earn her and love her at the same time. That's not her expectation. Okay. Now, people can say, how do you know that, Roger? Because I've seen enough about Kiki, and I'm not saying anything bad about Kiki. I'm thinking Kiki is a normal black woman when it comes to American society that happens to be rich. But based on the way she talks and her viewpoints, I don't expect her to even believe she's going to meet a man who makes enough money where she can stop working. So whatever connection she might be able to make with a man like that, she'll never make. I'm not saying she won't even be in the room with those kind of men because she is a person known from a Hollywood scene. She could be in those rooms. She'll never connect with a man where she will feel comfortable not working while he works. So she's always going to be consistently concerned with poverty. That doesn't make her poor, but she will consistently be concerned with poverty. And her working, you got to understand, that's a poor woman. Because let's keep it real. We don't like working in general. The average person with a job does not like going to work. We go to work because of that money. And if that job can't pay, we ain't going no more.
Yeah,
That's what's real.
Like that's why I said I think it's more of they turned out. You know what I mean? Like once you, like I said, once you play with a GI Joe, them green action, them green army figures is like, nah, Grandma, I'm good. You know when they used to come with that big bag of green, like, but you didn't play with something better. So Kiki Palmer, she didn't roll in Benjis and this and this and that. She can't go back. I don't even think you could go back after you didn't roll in a Bentley for 20 years and now you got to drive a Corolla.
I mean, brother, some things are harder than other, but this is the thing. Some people allow money to rule them. Some people rule money. You know, now that has nothing to do with how you are from a wealth perspective. It's just the way it is. Some people allow money to rule them and other people don't. And so, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Those who can't, quote unquote, go back, yeah, they allow money to rule them. Now, no one can threaten me with poverty because, you know, I didn't grow up with money. So you can't threaten me by, I'm going to make sure you're poor. Like, bro, I grew up in that world. I ain't come from no money. You know, my daddy was a honest, hardworking man, but he wasn't rich. So you can't threaten me with poverty. That don't even work. But that's because money will never rule me. I will always rule money. Doesn't mean you're rich, doesn't mean you're poor. It's just your relationship with money. And when it comes down to it, black women are working because they have a poverty mindset. And at the end of the day, they don't trust black men, which is why even when a lot of them get married, they have to continue to work. Because let's keep it real. If she used her money in a way that the black man wanted her to use it in, they would get into a position where she wouldn't need to work. She would rather work and not trust a black man's plan than to not work and trust a black man's plan. That is the average black woman. Y'all, I hope y'all catching what I'm saying. She would rather work and not trust a black man's plan than to not work and trust a black man's plan. The poverty mindset is there. Okay. Now, Black Uru's come up, so I'm gonna go ahead and give him the mic. But y'all pay attention to what I'm saying now. She would rather work and not trust a black man's plan than to not work and trust a black man's plan. There's a choice to make. She's gonna prefer trusting anyone other than a black man. And that means, yes, I will have to continue to go up and work every day, even though she's married. And if she just trusts her man, you know, he can create a plan for them, 3, 4, 5 years. She'll never have to worry about working for somebody else ever again. But that's not going to be good enough for her, because poverty is where she prefers to be when it comes to trusting her man. She'd rather choose poverty. But I'm going to let the flow go to Black Uru. You have it, my brother.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for having me. I hope you're recovering from the Bears' loss. It was very painful.
I knew somebody was bring that ugly event up.
They were 15 yards away, man, from a field goal from winning that game. God dang. Yeah, I hope you and the fellows on the panel, folks in public chat, are doing well. A couple of things, you mentioned Kiki. I actually like Kiki. She comes across as a genuine spirit, or she seems like a genuine young woman. I'm not necessarily referring to whether or not I think she has the capacity to be a good mate or a good wife or whatever, because those can be different things. But she seemed to be a genuine good spirit, and I think that though her unique situation, her being a black female child star from a sort of like a lower, I guess, middle class background, shout out with Harvey, Illinois, south suburb of Chicago. I think it probably puts her in a position where it will be difficult for her to really commit to or trust a man. I think the child star part in particular will be very problematic, because she's had kind of a fantastical life in some way. I mean, a meteoric life at such an early age. So the profile of the man is going to be, I mean, I don't even know what the profile of that man is, that he'll probably be able to get past all of that to even want to really, and she actually would really kind of follow him as a leader. I mean, maybe if there was some other big time media star type, maybe she would submit to him. But I think her biggest problem is just her particular path in life would make it very difficult for her to submit to a man. But I do think in general, we're kind of caught in a loop. You say black women, working black women represents poverty, but unfortunately, it also perpetuates poverty, because those women will have children. They will raise young men who won't be as prepared to compete in the world as if they were raised by men, and particularly within a marriage. So then those men go into a world, and they're less capable of even being the leaders and being economically competitive. So not only do these working black women create their own impoverishment, they perpetuate it into future generations of people, men and women, and then make the next generation even less capable make the next generation of young men even less capable of bringing their female peers out of poverty. So it's kind of a vicious uh, trap in a way, and that's why I think to some degree a significant number of us are going to have to kind of mate out to just sort of break that kind of cycle. So I guess I'll end my opening statement there.
Okay. Shout out to you, brother, for that. And shout out to the Great Black Reset. Now, I said I was going to leave stuff alone before I started this show, y'all. I'm just going to say I said I was going to leave stuff alone, but I don't know now. I don't know now because he done put it in the super chat. Shout out to the Great Black Reset. He says this fingernail polish is frozen. Go Bears. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you, man. You know, I ain't got nothing but love and respect for you, brother. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I ain't got nothing but love and respect for you. Okay? So I would take that some type of way, but I also heard about what happened to the 49ers. So I ain't going to even trip. I'm not going to even trip because I heard about what happened to the 49ers. So I ain't going to even trip. The Bears' miracle season has come to an end. They was doing something they probably shouldn't have done to next year anyway. So I'm still going to say shout out to them for that. Shout out to them for that. Unfortunately, it just didn't go the way we needed it to go. It just didn't go the way we needed to go. But I ain't going to even say nothing about the Niners, okay? I'm not going to even say nothing, brother. But you know what? I'm gonna wait to the round table. I'm gonna see you at the round table if you come up. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna see you at the round table, brother. And I'm gonna let the 49ers live. I'm gonna let them live. They competition did, but I'm gonna let them live. Tunnel Runner, go ahead, my brother. You got the mic.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, Shark Sim was on it a little bit. He was telling some of the truth because, if you have a woman who doesn't know what a Benz is, what a Mercedes is, she just it's just a nice, clean car. She ain't really striving for all of that. She is happy with some of the basic things that you can bring, and some of these, things that are very luxury and stuff like that. They're not even a need for it. They can see the balance that is not even needed for. Like I told my wife, Louis Vuitton is an old rapper. You don't want that. she don't know any better. And I got people who want her to get a Gucci belt, and I ain't getting her no Gucci belt. I say she can get it from the flea market. It's not from the, but like I said, you have a woman who is appreciated of the little things, of the things that are important, and not want to have these extravagant luxury stuff that if you really do the budget, some of these things you have to be a multimillionaire for you to be buying, to be in your budget. And otherwise you kind of breaking yourself on stuff that's not even called for.
Well said, brother. Well said. And shout out to Superstar J Quick. He said the ones that contribute the least want even more. Hashtag say no to Keisha. Dang, brother, dang. But you do make a point. You do make a point, and I think that was kind of in line with what Tunnel Runner is saying. And y'all, the thing is you gotta, at some point, you gotta ask yourself, why am I doing the stuff that I'm doing? Okay, and why am I with the person who's operating in this particular way? Now, I'm gonna say this. I understand why men are starting to say things about, I want a woman who's working. Okay. What I'm gonna say is, instead of just wanting a woman who's working, you need to look for a woman who wants to work for you. That's what you need to look for. Now, I'm not saying you have to quote unquote employ her. Her goal is to make you look good. That's what her goal has to be. If her goal is not to make you look good, it does not make a difference what she has if she's not going to use it to benefit you. And that should be her goal. What good woman wants a man that doesn't look good? Y'all ask yourself that question, and that'll help steer you in a much better direction. If you only want a woman who wants you to look good, a lot of times you're going to get a much better woman. Okay? It's not 100% sure, but it puts you in way better position to want a woman that wants you to look good. Most women have no concern with how good you look. And most women are usually concerned with you trying to make them look good, and they don't care about what you have to do to make them look good. You know, if you got to literally die for them to look good, they cool with that. Now, what woman wants you to die and she actually love you? The one that loves you don't want you to die. The one that loves you can accept death if certain circumstances happen, but she don't want you to die. You know, you have women that literally want you to kill yourself, try to make sure you can get that quote unquote Louis Vuitton bag for her, that Chanel bag for her, that you know, whatever it is that she wants. Okay, she got to be in a brand new Benz every 3 years because that's how she want to roll. Now, if it take you life and limb to make that happen, she good with it because she believes I should just drive around in the Benz and somebody else should worry about how to get it paid for. And that's why I say, as Black men, we look at women in a wrong way because we don't even see working women as a sign of poverty. We think it's a good thing. I ain't saying women shouldn't work at all. If a man has a plan to help his family get to the next level because he's going to do something with the money she earns, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But why is a married woman not trying to incorporate something where her man can come home? Y'all ask yourselves that. Why she don't want her man to be able to come home? Meaning get him in a position where he don't even need to work anymore. Not saying he gonna stop working just because he hit a certain spot. But why does she not want that to be an option? You know, I almost say the sports leagues have told us a story over the last few years. When you look at all the different NBA players or NFL players that have retired and then their wife wants a divorce. Wait a minute, you tell me he worked 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, got multi-million-dollar deals. Some of them even got, brand deals or whatever the case is and got even more money. And now that he come home, he's quote unquote retired. And because he retired early, now you want a divorce? Does that sound like somebody who's in it for their husband? As long as you was away playing games for a good portion of the time, I can tolerate being married to you. But because you have been so successful and you can afford to retire at a young age before 40 years old, now I want a divorce? Does that make any level of sense? No, it don't. It don't. But how much sense does it make for a wife to be working and it's not about using the money for a plan so her husband can retire too? Now, I've met a lot of great loving couples. They got stuff together. Okay. I know people who are very well off. They work at some particular place. It don't have to be anything extraordinary. The man could have worked at the railroad. She could have worked at the post office. And they'll tell me, yeah, we did this together. We bought this home. We had these kids. Then we bought this building over here. We got this business off the ground because she wanted to do this. She was passionate about this. So we turned it into a business, blah, 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 blah. Now they both 55 years old or so, somewhere around that, and don't neither one of them got to go to nobody's job because she wanted her husband to be in position to come home. That sounds like somebody who was into it for the man the same way the man was into it for the woman. Because usually the men, we get into it for the women. But do the women get into it for us?
Why shouldn't they work? Let's put things into perspective, right? Most of them are not even having children. Most of them want to be taken care of by the government. And the worst one, most of them are not even having sex like they used to. So if they are not out here working and get taxed like everybody else, what purpose do they serve exactly?
Well, I'm gonna say I don't know about that because you said most of them are being taken care of by the government. I don't know about that one.
They want
I don't
to.
know.
They
Yeah, are
want to
most
be
women
taken care
actually being taken? Are you just saying that, or is that something that's real?
of. Most of them want to be taken care of.
Well, want to is different than are. I thought you said most of them are being taken care of by the government. So I'm thinking that might be a little bit of a stretch right there. I don't know the numbers for on that, so I wouldn't say you was wrong. I'm just saying now when you said they want to be taken care of by the government, I can agree with that easy. That I can agree with easily. Yeah, but I would have
Hey,
to look
but
at some.
Roger, what about when they want to work at the house and cook you some coconut pancakes and clean your clothes and make you smell good and take care of your family? I like them working in the house for
I
me.
mean, and technically that's living. What see that's what you're doing for self. So it's work to a certain degree, but that's really not even work. That's just living. It's a beautiful thing if you ask me. And I don't know why a woman wouldn't want to be in position to be living a beautiful lifestyle where she can just take care of her husband, take care of some kids, and kids grow up and leave at some point. So it's just her and her husband for real, for real.
So, so,
So
so, all of a sudden, y'all Negroes want wives now? Don't y'all know that wives are only reserved for the white man?
How? But before we get to that, let me that bad black gamer get in here. Bad black gamer, you got the mic, my brother.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hopefully, I sound okay, on your broadcast.
You
Yes,
good?
you
You
Um,
do.
good?
Yes, you do.
hey, I'll be real quick because you brought something up a little while ago when I was listening about how like all these NBA players be retiring now, and then the first thing they do or professional athletes, but I've seen it happen more so with the NBA players. Like they retire and all of a sudden their wife want to get a divorce, almost like that's like the thing to do now. Is that about right?
I mean, for the ones who wasn't in the marriage for the husband, that's going to happen.
Yeah, but that's happening a lot though. That's like a thing to do. It's almost like, okay, if you get married to an NBA player, when he retires, you supposed to divorce him. Like that's like a script now. Right.
Well, the thing is, if you're married to an NBA player, you got to keep it in mind. If you married to an active NBA player, he gone half the time.
Yeah, I know that because he's traveling for work, but he's gone for like 6 months out of the year, and then the other 6 months,
No, I'm
doing the
saying
off season.
I'm saying he's gone half the time because yeah, they play games, but it's not like they play all the games on the road. He's there sometime, he's gone sometime. Yeah, they get the summer off, but when you really start looking at it, about half the year, he's not really even there. So
Really?
she
Yeah.
can tolerate being married to a guy who's gone half the time because he come with all this money that's attached to him. But now that is he's gonna be at home, well, now you got to be there for him. And if
Mhm.
you're not there for him, why wouldn't you get a divorce?
See, I'm gonna say shout out to Magic Johnson's wife because that dude got like we all know he got HIV back in the '80s, and she stayed with him till today. So I don't know what that is that now that because it's like a script. It's like you get married to a rich guy as soon as he's retires and you're not making the massive amount of money he's gonna make in his life anymore. You're supposed to leave him, and I think that's like a sign that we might need to do something about that because that's like a thing.
Well, the thing is, we got to learn from what's going on at the end of the day. I've said before, once you hit 18, you need to know everything you need to know for the rest of your life. And it's your responsibility to pick it up what you didn't get before you became 18. It's your responsibility now. So we need to peep game and figure out what's going on. And I'm gonna say shout out to Cookie in a minute, but shout out to No Placeholder. He says making coconut pancakes is real work. And Tunnel Runner. Shout out to you, shout out to you. And yes, I'm gonna say, man, that's a great way when you talk about women working. A wife making her husband coconut pancakes, that's real work right there. That's work that should be respected. Real talk, okay? So I don't ever want to make little of that. Okay. Shout out to Mrs. Tunnel Runner for doing such a fantastic job that we get to hear about the coconut pancakes. And that's real talk. Now I'm gonna say, yeah, when it comes down to it, when a man retires and he's gonna be around more, that's supposed to be a celebratory moment for his wife. See, a lot of men, we're not taught to value ourselves the way we should be. Why isn't your retirement a celebratory moment for a wife? If a wife wants to spend time around their husband, why wouldn't she want his retirement to come quicker rather than later? See, when a woman really loves the man, when he retires early, and don't get it twisted, y'all. Retirement doesn't necessarily mean you won't do any work at all. It's just you don't have a regular job. You're probably not going to work like regular folks do. There's people in retirement who still do stuff. It ain't like they just sit down on the couch and just watch TV all day. They do stuff. But their wife love the fact that he ain't got to get up and report to nobody until he ready to. Because she gets to have more quality time with her husband. So a man retiring is a celebratory moment for a wife that loves him. A man retirement for a woman that doesn't love the man is a problem she needs to figure out how to solve. So you need to figure out, is the wife you with or a person you're going to marry, when it's time for your retirement, whether it's early or later, is it going to be something for her to celebrate or is it going to be a problem for her to figure out?
Roger, let me ask you this right quick. Because like NBA players get like, the guys, when they're athletes, they get special treatment from the time they're in high school. You know what I'm saying? Women are just throwing it at them, you know what I'm saying? From the time they're in high school, just because they know where they're going, right? They know they're going to probably make it into the lead or something like that one day. How is that guy supposed to ever know that this is like the thing that women do now? How is he supposed to know that, okay, if I go in and make this money and have this career, that if I get married, my wife's just going to divorce me at the end of my career when I'm not making that type of money no more, even though I'm still rich?
Hey Roger, can I answer it?
Sure, I'll let you say it, but then I'll give my answer. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's called a prenup and it's called a trust. Get a prenup and put your money in the trust so that and put some stipulations for her to what she'd be able to get if you have a breakup in the marriage. So it's called a prenup and it's called putting your money in the trust, the overseas account.
Okay. Now, I was literally going to say the same way a man with a regular job is going to know. You figured out the same exact way. You have to figure out why she there in the first place. Men, look, I understand men are looking at some of the stuff women do, but we're men. Men cannot be 100% risk aversion. We're supposed to make calculated risk. You're not going to live in the world and be able to achieve anything and be totally risk aversion. Or what am I? Is that the word?
Risk averse.
Yeah, risk averse. There you go. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. So you ain't got to know everything. You just got to know enough. Okay, so yeah, you can't be risk averse and win in life. Those two things do not go together. It just is what it is. So you're gonna know the same way the guy who makes 50,000 a year gonna know it. The same way the guy who makes 50 million a year is gonna know it. They're women at the end of the day. You have to pay attention to what she actually wants, and you got to really look at what are the clues she's leaving on why she's there in the first place. And if a man won't learn that,
Well,
all I can say is good luck to him. But
there is an actual, there's a maybe not a proven way because there's no foolproof way, but there is one thing that I would definitely recommend all young great athletes do. First of all, I would probably in most cases not recommend that you marry while you're in your career because I just
I think that's make more sense.
yeah, because I just think the exaggerated status of an active NBA player, I would say definitely an NBA player. I think is worse for NBA players than maybe any other athletes because their status, they are so glamorous. They're probably the most glamorous of professional athletes. So they're going to draw the most attention from the most opportunistic people ever. I mean, even like a football player, well, maybe a football player, could could show up a certain kind of way. But baseball players, football players, you may or may not know who they are. Everybody knows who the basketball star is, just in large part by his physical appearance. So the probability of him drawing a woman who is about something other than capitalizing on his wealth and status is almost nil. But if I were, to me, the best advice I would give to those young men, in addition to, I agree with what Tunnel Runner said about the trust and prenup and all that. That's good advice. But I would say, in companionship with that, consult other brothers who lived that life, who managed to have a marriage that survived. There are men out there like that. I might, for example, consult, Clay Thompson's dad, Michael Thompson. He got married in the flush of the Showtime Lakers. He got married in the Showtime Lakers. I mean, very glamorous, high profile, and he's still married to Clay's mom. What, 40 years later or whatever? So I'd consult men who've actually lived that and have gone through all of that, because those men can give you a profile of the woman. They can tell you about a particular woman. I might consult LeVar Ball, his wife, woman ups and downs. I mean, I talk to men who've actually lived that, and they can tell you things about the character of a woman that says that this is the type of woman who is truly supportive of a man beyond just his status and his wealth. So I definitely consult men who've actually done it. I go get some of these old 80s, 90s NBA players. I consult what's his name? Hardaway. What's his name?
Tim Hardaway.
Chicago boy. What's his
Tim
name?
Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway.
Huh? Tim
Tim
Hardaway.
Hardaway.
He's been with his wife. Their son's in the NBA. He's been with his wife 30 some odd years, and they seem to be still rolling strong, right? I
Hey,
talk to
he said,
guys like that. They can
awesome.
tell you about a particular woman, a particular character of a female who is more likely to really be there for you and really be supportive of you.
All right. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Black Uru for that wisdom. I'm gonna say shout out to Floyd Thompson. He says, I hope Mike Thomas' wife doesn't leave him. Hashtag long live habitual lines couples. Well, you never know. You never know, Floyd. You never know. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But I've heard no announcements thus far. And I'm gonna say, y'all, to reiterate, you do the same thing the guys who making $50,000 a year do. What should the guy making $50,000 a year talk to men, and start to understand what's going on with what an actual wife is versus a person posing as a wife? Because you got posers and then you got actual wives, and there's a reason I've said before, y'all, multiple times, that especially when it comes to women, if she ain't been married 30 years, I'm really gonna really listen to what a woman gonna say, because most of the time she wrong. Now, are there some women who are exceptions to the rule? Yes, but they don't come across that often. I don't even really want to hear from a woman who ain't been married 30 years. And I recommend women don't even listen to a woman, for the most part, if she ain't been married at least 30 years. And me, I just have a benefit where, as I grew up, I was around all these married folk. So, there's people who've been married. That's my only knowledge of them. They've been married. I've even got cousins that been married so long, I don't know them as a single person. So I just been blessed in that type of situation. And a lot of guys, they don't really get it, because, there's some people with some wives that I would never marry. I'm just going to say that. But I let him live because, hey, he married her. That's his problem now. But I don't want to change the subject of the show. The reality is, if you love the woman, even if you're an NBA player or you the guy to make $50,000 a year, in reality is you're not requiring your wife to work. It's a very rare man, especially amongst black men, that's going to tell his wife she got to get up and go to work. Most black men are trying to protect their wives from society, which means he's not going to put her out there in the workforce. Now, that's not saying that a woman ain't going to work. There's a lot of black women who just won't trust you, and she's going to work anyway. Now, at the end of the day, some of y'all kind of knew she was that way before you married. Some of y'all didn't really pick up on it. That's your choice at the end of the day. But you got to understand what your wife is there for. Now, if I've been with women who I understood would work regardless of what I wanted them to do, so I didn't marry them. See, there's no excuse to not doing what I see is best for the family. So yes, I've been with some women who say, well, no, I'm going to work no matter what. I got to drop her because she just told me I'm not her leader. I ain't got to force no situation for me to lead her. That's something she got to want for herself. And it's because she didn't want it, I dropped her. Now, a lot of people wouldn't drop a woman like that because they hear it and they just keep going forward. But no, if I'm not your leader, I'm dropping you. That's just real talk for me. But let the Great Black Reset get in for an opening statement. And I'm going to say, appreciate you being here today. I thought you may have been mourning for your team, but you came. So shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you.
Why you sound so begrudging as you introduce me, sir?
No.
You usually be a little bit more enthusiastic.
Hey, brother, both our teams went out the same week. We good. We okay. I mean, yours went out the day before mine, but they went out the same week.
See, I was talking about black women fingernail polishing. You just went off on me. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, we gonna throw stones to our hands. Right at the beginning, huh? We gonna throw stones to our hands.
I think this is a great topic today. I think you guys are pretty much spot on when it comes to the athletes, even though that's not really the topic today. But going toward the topic, I think women working in the workforce has been an issue. I think the government kind of sees that now. I think I understand that while we were at war, women went into the workforce and to the factories and stuff like that. But I think it just went a little too far, and the government got greedy on the double taxation of families and stuff like that, and it went towards splitting up the families. I think the people have to reverse it. Shark Sims has it kind of right. Says, "Hey man, get your woman without electricity. Get your woman that you buy her a scooter. She think you went and bought something brand new at the lot. That there's an idea to that. The ideal is, man, these women need to be taught to want what we provide, not what they see, not what they want because they saw it on Instagram and all this other kinds of stuff. Man, I don't want my wife working for nobody else because I don't want her to get comfortable listening to another man and following his direction. At most, I would want my wife to work from home. But to be honest with you, most women that work, after they get done paying for their little car payment and they start having children and you get done paying for daycare and all this other kind of stuff, they broke anyway. And you come out your pocket paying for the stuff they want. They might as well stay home, let their first job be being your wife and being your support system and following your vision. And the second job, raising the children. And the household will move forward smoother. You'll be under less pressure. You're gonna live where I can afford to live. You're gonna drive the car I can afford for you to drive. You're gonna wear the clothes I can afford for you to have. We're gonna save more money, and you just have to learn how to be content. And I'm gonna land my plane there.
Okay, shout out to you, brother, for that. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all. Now y'all do what y'all want to do, but I look at reality, y'all. I could have a wife with a job, but who's her ultimate boss? Me. Anything her bosses at work want her to do needs my approval. That's just the way it goes. They could want to change their schedule change her schedule because it's better for the business. Well, if that change it gets approved by me, you can do it. If that change does not get approved by me, you cannot have it. Because ultimately, I am who she answers to. Now, a lot of guys don't want to be that person for their wife Because again, as black men, we're taught you're not supposed to be a leader. My wife's job can't have her do anything that they cannot get my permission on.
I'm calling for tomorrow. Okay.
Now, see, when you take a stance like that, what's going to happen is people are going to attack you and say, well, if you're going to be like that, then that means you got to be able to do this and do it. Well, who doing it anyway? If it's your wife, you're already taking care of her. And at the end of the day, why is your wife doing something that you cannot walk away from? As a man, you're supposed to always be able to walk away from any situation. So what if you got a job and you got a problem at work? Can you not walk away from your job? Do you not see another way to earn some money? You know, thinking's still legal, y'all. I'm just going to say thinking is still legal. So you got to always be in a position where you can walk away at any given point in time. Because at the end of the day, in the real world, sometimes you go to work and the job ain't there no more. You know, I'm glad my daddy taught me that. He said, you're only good as your last day. That's the reality of the work life. You're only as good as your last day. Because anybody could show up on Monday and the job not there no more. And as a man, you're supposed to still do your job regardless of whether the job was there or not. You still got to find a way to make some money. It just is what it is. Okay? I said before, that kind of like when I really got that sense of manhood, when I had my first apartment by itself and then I lost that job, you know, and all I had was $20. And I said, I'm going to make it work. I ain't going home. I'm going to make it work. Just is what it is. And I took $20 and made it work where I could live with an apartment and all kinds of stuff, taking care of myself off $20. So it's hard to threaten me with something because I believe if I get $20, I'm good. You know, and it's a nice way to it's a nice position to be in as a man too, to believe that all you need is $20 and you gonna make it. Well, that's all it takes for me. You know, now my wife has to be able to comply with me. Well, that's all it takes. If her job gets in the way of her complying with me, that job is getting eliminated anyway. And that's just real talk. If the job stops her from being with me, the job is gone. And there's a lot of people who lose their husband and wife over jobs. This person's job got them in this location while the other person in this location. Or this person got to work this schedule while the other person got this schedule. And people allow this to interfere with their marriage. No job will interfere with my marriage. If the job cannot go around my marriage, the job is just unnecessary. But do your woman trust you enough to live that way? See, that's the thing. I understand as a black man, a lot of black women just ain't gonna trust you. I don't take it as an ego shot to me. I just look at who she is as a person. Well, she don't trust me because I'm a black man. That's cool. I got to drop her. You know, I may like the way she looked. Heck, I might like the way she was in bed. I may like a lot about her. But if she don't trust me, she don't trust me. It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and worry about it over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 decades. I'm just gonna get rid of her because she don't trust me.
Hey, Roger. The thing is, all that stuff I said about the prenup and the trust, that's all good and stuff. But once she has your baby, all that stuff is thrown out the window. Child support cannot be you cannot cover it under any paperwork. It's by the state. So even whether you're making 100,000 or making 100 million, the state's gonna come after you for child support, and you can't cover that.
Well, the trust works better for regular men than it does for wealthy men.
Well, let me say this real quick too, because since he said that, I don't personally believe I ever marry a woman that will live long enough to collect child support from me. I don't believe that's gonna happen. Okay, I just don't believe that. Okay, every child belongs to their father. Now, y'all got to understand, we all got different belief systems. Because I believe what the Bible says, I believe every child belongs to their father. That was confirmed with Jesus having the ability to die for other people's sins. Jesus was born of a woman, but his father was God only. He the only person that had pure blood that could die for someone else's sin. So every child belongs to a father. Now, I believe that fundamentally. So I doubt that any woman would live long enough to collect child support from me. Seriously. Because I'm going to protect my children. But go ahead, what you was going to say, Great Black Reset.
No, I was going to say about the trust. If you're not getting paid from an entity such as like the NBA, the NFL, or something like that, just high salary. If you're working as a 1099 employee and you have a trust and you're paying yourself from the trust, say $5,000 to $10,000 a year, that's all child support can go after because that's what your W-2 says. So a trust works perfectly fine for child support.
Now, shout out to Emerald Ed 72. He said, "Well, Roger just said happened in my job. We have a nickname for them, home wreckers." uh, now, I'm gonna say, y'all, keep in mind, y'all, this is about women working. Why is she working? You got to ask yourself, why is the woman working? Because I've seen men in really good positions, and you know what happens? Their wife don't work. You know, because they're making money. They good. There's no need between either one of them that she needs to get up and go to work every day. She does not have to subject herself to the world around her because her husband believes she's in position where it's not necessary. But she also believes that she's not in that position. She trusts her husband's judgment. So she's not getting up going to work. Now, you can have money.
So let me ask y'all this question. Let me ask y'all this question because I like to get into the logistics of things. So when your wife's not working, what is she doing?
She's working for the household at home. She's been a wife. So, like, let's just say you have some ideas about a business you want to start or something like that. She would be the person that's researching it. She would be the person doing the documentation. Whatever you give her um, an assignment to do. Now, you got to keep your wife busy. If she ain't doing nothing, she gonna be doing something she ain't got no business doing. So, you as a husband, you need to be able to have a job for her, whether it's paid or non-paid, to say, hey, this is what you're going to be responsible for. This is what I expect on a day in and day out basis. So she does need to be busy. She ain't just sitting home doing nothing.
Yeah, you can keep a wife that's out there cooking, cleaning, shopping, and not just shopping, but going to find the bargains to really look for what's the cheapest place, to look for our vacation, look for the cheapest hotels, to keep her, occupied, to take care, to help me with my family. If I got older family members, she should be over there trying to assist me in helping them. If I got nephews and kids, she should be doing that. Yeah, keep her busy, but there's plenty of things for her to do to make my life perfect as much as she can.
And I'm gonna say, y'all, I think a woman could be helping you with your next thing. Because
Yes.
everybody should have a next thing. You know, you're doing something, you're successful in whatever that thing you're doing is. But what's your next thing?
Hmm.
You push the family forward. Help me with the next thing. There's always a next thing. As a man, I believe you should always have a next thing because things work, and then some things work for a while, then they go away. Did you invest in a Blu-ray player? I remember Blu-rays when they first came out, y'all. I almost got me a Blu-ray player. Them things disappear. There's always a next thing. Some stuff lasts for a while, then it goes away. But if you are good at whatever you have that's good and steady, okay, cool. We know what this is doing. So what's the next thing? So I don't understand why a woman couldn't help you. Not necessarily saying she can't help with the household chores and all that stuff too. Yeah, she should be doing that. She definitely should be helping with children and all that other stuff too. But men, more than likely, if you're working a job, there's something you want. There's a next thing that you just ain't really tried to implement yet. And I'm saying try. You only got one life to live. You might as well try it. And your wife can help you with it if you happen to be married. But most women ain't married, so they're going to be in a state of poverty.
Hmm.
Yeah. I got a few next things a woman can help me with.
Well, if you're young and you're married, let's just say you have a daughter. You send your wife to cosmetology school, learn how to do hair and nails. So when their daughter gets that age, hey, we ain't got to pay for that. Now, this becomes something you can do at home and take customers as well as do the child's hair that adds to the household.
Yeah, but see, the keep it more on subject because I think we kind of getting off subject. Why is the woman working? A lot of women are working because they haven't made a proper investment into the home, so they cannot work. Because let's be realistic. What man gets into a position where enough money is available and he retires first and his wife keeps working? That's such an abnormal thing. Most men are trying to put themselves in position where their wife don't have to work. So you got to have two things come together at the same time. You got to have a man that wants her to stop working, and she has to want to stop working for other people, so she's not in rebellion to her man. Both of those things come into play, and when you have both of those things come into play, she ain't working no more. But a lot of black women are working because, again, they have no husband in the first place. And then the ones who have a husband, most of them don't trust their husband. So they're not leaving no job because they're in rebellion to him.
But look,
Roger, can I add this?
my wife, for most of my marriage, my wife didn't work for anybody, but she had a lot of, she had things going on at the kids' school. She was studying tennis and piano and guitar, and she's done a lot of brunching, a lot of social things, volunteer stuff, goodwill and those sorts of things. A lot of there's a part of women working that I don't think you guys are really conveying and appreciating about the nature of women, and that's the social aspect. A lot of women work, and not just exclusively black women. A lot of women work for the social interaction to be able to get dressed up and go someplace and interact with people and do some stuff and get some degree of positive feedback from things and to some degree be competitive in terms of their appearance to some degree amongst other women. And so to a large extent, there's a social aspect of working for a lot of women, especially those who are not necessarily as dependent on the economic return. And if you're going to take a woman out of the workforce, you got to be appreciative of that need as much as just the economic need and even your own purposes. I mean, you guys kind of talk about, what you want her to be and what she can do for you. But I think you also have to appreciate, what she can do for herself that might provide a direct or indirect return for you, but for something she can feel good about herself to that she don't feel like she necessarily have to get in a workplace. I mean, if you remember your old kind of, well, I mean, you don't see as much of it today, but recall of your media that you would call traditional media, usually white people, but not exclusively white people. The housewife was volunteering. She was coordinating the bake sale, right? She was, organizing the fundraising for the kids, baseball, softball, or little league. The women were doing things, a lot of social things. It was contributing to the family, contributing to the man, but also things that she herself could reap some positive feedback and benefit from, and some esteem from. So I mean, as you think about the woman not working, uh, you should also think about, okay, how is she going to benefit? How is she, as an individual human being, going to benefit in that process as well?
Hey, can I add something to that?
Well, let me jump in. I'm gonna say all those are great things, and women would have time to think more about those things if they would trust their husbands, get in a position where they don't have to work anymore, and then they can put time into volunteering. Because that type of stuff does make society a better place. Let's be realistic about that. All that type of stuff that you just spoke about, Black Rule, that helps improve society. That helps improve a neighborhood. That helps improve a community. We need more women to focus on things like that. And the way that they can do that is to stop being in rebellion to their husbands so much and worried about him where they can let some of these jobs go. And
Well,
once you let them jobs go, the economics changes about jobs because now they got to pay people more because they got less employees to pick from.
and those things are related to childbearing, which is what I was saying. Her second job is to rear a child. So all of those social things are attached to child rearing, and she gains social status for herself for being a wife and being the type of wife she should be as she's doing those social things attached to the child rearing.
Now let me give room for usual business. He done came up. You got it, my brother.
Hello, how you doing to the panel and to Roger? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you
Yes,
great,
sir.
brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Um, when I look at the situation about when it comes to dealing with women and having them at home, this is just my personal opinion. Being at home is a luxury, so that is the reward in itself. Now, I don't think people really truly understand. It is a blessing to quote unquote come to live in a house. Only thing is to do is to wash dishes and to survive. That is a blessing. I don't think the average person really just own. That's the only thing they have to do is just wash a dish or watch their own kids that they created. I think like when I hear some of these comments, so I hear some things being said. I'm looking at it as it seems like this. The reward is you get to enjoy the reward itself, and I think we really got to be real honest about that situation because throughout human history, the most women had to work. Repeat this: had to work. It don't matter if she was from here or she was in Europe. She had the women ran the markets in Africa. They had to. Work had to be done. Same shit necessary. And in Europe, women had to quote unquote either chop wood or whatever or do whatever. Like so for me, if your husband is good enough or has the finances to quote unquote put you in a position that you don't have to work, your only goal is to serve that man holistically until the day he dies. If he say, "Girl, jump to the moon," you need to say, "Cool, at what speed?" Anything other than that mentality is crazy to me. But I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Hey, all right. Shout out to Kung Guru who says, Roger, these days are cooked across the board. Men just need to have contracts with a wife, and she agreed that is at will employment. Well, Kung Guru, the thing about women is they word don't really mean much. That's all I can tell you, brother. They words don't really mean much because let's keep it real. A marriage is a contract, and they break that contract on a regular basis. They break that contract on a regular basis. So unfortunately, women don't really care about their word like that, which is why you can't really hold them up to anything. So I'm saying I have to look at how women are communicating to me. If my wife has a purpose that doesn't fit into my purpose, she doesn't need to be my wife. If I got a woman who wants to fit into a purpose that has nothing to do with my outlook on life, nothing to do with my vision, I don't need her around. We keep a lot of women around who do not qualify to be around us. That's what we do as men because we've been taught that we're supposed to give women breaks and just let them have another turn and it's going to be okay and just forgive. You can forgive a person and still get rid of them at the same time. You don't have to keep somebody around just to forgive them. Look, I forgive you for not being good enough, but you got to go be that way with somebody else.
Exactly.
I want a woman who can get to the point where she don't got to work. Okay. Now I'm not saying I'm gonna marry some woman and I'm just gonna make it where she don't have to work right in the dough. You know, you come up with a plan to do something to make sure everything's gonna work out. But there's gonna be a family vision to progress us to a new level. Now, depending upon where she is, that's gonna have a lot to do with how much work she's gonna do. Because I guarantee you, if she come in with some debt or something like that, she definitely gonna work till all that stuff paid off. I'm not finna clear up a bunch of back debt and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now I get guys, you got to understand now. Once a woman's debt paid off, maybe that's when she want to leave, because a lot of women will do stuff like that. So I'm not saying that won't happen, but my thing is I'm gonna direct how the money goes. So her debt will eventually get paid, but she gonna help me. That is her job, to be my helpmate. I don't understand why.
Sorry.
Well, I'm just gonna say that Black men, we've been convinced so much that woman ain't supposed to help us. We sound real retarded sometimes talking about how she ain't never got to help me do squat. I'm gonna pay all the bills because I'm a man. Hey, I get where you coming from, but at the end of the day, she can pay a bill. Her job is to help you with whatever it is that you're doing. And if paying bills is one of the things you're doing, it is something she can help you with. Now, you can get to the point where you don't need her to help you with that, but at the end of the day, you're supposed to have stuff in place to continue to move your family forward. If she can't move my family forward, she is worthless to me, and that could come in monetary ways and that could come in social ways. But what she gonna do is move the family forward. She ain't getting in if she can't move that family forward. And that's just real talk. But go ahead, usual business.
All right. I wanted to say I agree with absolutely. This is probably one of the few times I think I may actually disagree with something that you did say, right? 99% of the stuff you say is right? But my only one pushback.
This dude crazy. Go ahead.
No, my only one pushback is this one, right? No, my pushback is this, right? Her word does mean something, and she can be held to her word, because when a woman crosses another woman, she'll cut her throat, and she know what she'll do it. That's why they very, very choosy about crossing each other. Repeat this. I really believe they can be held to their word. You just have to be willing to punish them. That's the difference. I've seen it. I've seen this stuff when
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I just said her word don't really mean nothing to her. That's what I said. Her word don't mean nothing to her. I'm not saying you shouldn't hold her accountable for her word, because I do that all day long. You have no idea how many women I done dropped because she told me she was going to do X, Y, and Z, and she didn't do it. And I don't even remember I said it because you didn't pay no attention. You didn't even care when you said it. You just said it in the moment because you wanted something to go the way that you wanted it to go. But now you got to rotate because you didn't do it. That's what that moment got you. It got you the door. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So I'm with you 100%, brother. I'm with you 100% there.
Oh, yeah, because I've seen it. Because when I've dealt with, like, when you start dealing with African women and different women from the continent and whatever, you start seeing they're a little bit more choosy with their words, because they know necessarily something gonna happen to them, right? Either be good or bad, they know something gonna happen, right? So they're a little bit more selective with their words. I'm not saying they don't have emotional outbursts, because all women have emotional outbursts, but what I'm clearly seeing is a pattern of behavior, right? Once you hold people accountable, people know there's quote unquote going to be actions to their quote unquote bad behavior, they move differently. Like I said, if a woman knows for a guaranteed fact that she's going to break a relationship and it's going to cost her or cost her family something, they move differently. Because the women in Africa, they move differently because they know it's going to be consequences put upon them, right? The reason you have women over here who move completely different is they know there's no punishment to be upon them. So if you look at it that way, if you're going to let me off scot-free, why not do it? Why should my word even mean anything if I know for a fact you're going to let me slide anyway? Because I got a vagina.
Now, I'm going to say shout out to Positive Vibe. She said, I don't know many men who can afford to pay all the bills in this society. No, you just don't never count. That's all. You just don't really count. And I expect that because women don't really count.
Well,
men, hold on. I ain't even let you get the flow yet. Why don't you just relax? Okay, relax.
That was me. I'm Positive Vibes. That's why. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you don't count. You're a woman. Women don't count because they always look for somebody else to do stuff for them anyway. So they don't really make a measurement of what things cost and how things are going to affect this. They don't care nothing about interest and all that. Because women don't really spend their time counting. They just spend their time asking for somebody else to pay for it for them. That's what women do. Okay, y'all been doing it since you were children, and you just don't let it go. Shout out to Floyd Thompson. He says, so black women put themselves in a permanent underclass. when you got 75% of the women, or about 75, I ain't gonna say it's exactly at 75, but it's always close to 75. When you got 75, around 75% of a group of women that ain't married, what would you call them? And now permanent underclass. Well, do you see any marriage rates climbing? So it's permanent as far as we know. Okay.
And to support that argument, per the Federal Reserve's recent Federal Reserve study of 2022, the poorest people in the country are black and brown women who have never married, Per the Federal Reserve, those are the statistically the poorest people in the country.
So shout out to Floyd Thomas for the super chat, and shout out to you for the 67-cent tax. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, my brother. Now we have the one and only Lena has joined us again. And Lena, we wanted to talk to you backstage the other day, but you left. I was trying to tell you we wanted to holler at you, but that's neither here nor there right now. No, that's cool. It's neither here nor there right now. But you now have the floor. Go ahead and say what you want to say.
Hello, good morning, Roger. Good morning, panel. I will say, with the money, like, I just looked it up, and they said that if a man makes 100, I asked Google, I said, what percentage of men can afford to pay in the United States for a stay-at-home wife? They said the money, it depends how much they make. They said if they make 100K, half of the people that make 100K, half of them have stay at home. And if they make 250K, 70% of their wives stay at home. So it does depend how much. And we know that most men do not make 100K or more. That's not to down men or whatever, but that's just what the market is and what the going rate is. So, what the statistical rate of how much men make. So usually a woman has to still work. So saying that, women, we can find this man and you're going to stay at home, we're selling them a dream. You're going to have to probably still work. And then it is good to find a wife that's, educated, that you can fall back. Because suppose you get injury, something happened to the husband. And, he probably made some provisions, but you still would like to have something to fall back on. So it would actually be in a man's best interest to find an educated woman who can add value, and maybe she could pay a bill or two just in case. So I think that it is important for a woman to be educated and be able to earn money herself as well.
Let me have this one, Roger. Let me have this one.
Oh, wait a minute. Who is that?
This is me. It's Kevin.
Oh, you sound far away all of a sudden.
Bro, you sound super far away, bro.
I switched devices.
Okay, all right.
You know what? I'll switch back to the other device. I'll be right back.
You sound way better on the other device. I'm just going to tell you.
I will switch back over to the other device. I'll be right back.
Okay. Cool.
Now, I want to expose something real quickly. I don't know if anybody's going to agree with what you just said, but Lena, how much does it cost for how much money does a man need to make for his wife to be a stay-at-home wife? Now, you just Googled that. How much does it cost?
I say 100K, if not more.
You got no clue. The thing never answered the question. It just told you something that's going on. It didn't answer the question at all. You have no clue. And just like I said earlier, women don't count. And because you don't count, y'all don't understand the relationships of money to pretty much anything. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with it. You're just being the woman that you are. And most of y'all have no clue of anything when it comes to an attachment to money. Y'all have no idea. Because in your world, men are going to pay for stuff. So, and I ain't really got into what I was going to say because I wanted to let Great Black Reset get in first since he said he wanted to tackle that. So I said, I'm going to hold my thoughts and let him get his in first. But go ahead, Great Black Reset. Now you sound like a champ again. Not like a 49er, but a champ.
Oh, we doing that today. Okay. well, I'm actually glad Lena came up. I'm glad she's sharing her perspective and honestly what she thinks about it, because this is an opportunity to learn. Most women, when they think about what she just talked about, they're thinking about what the man can do for her. This is we're all flipped upside down and backward. They're not thinking about what they can do to support the man. They're thinking about what can he buy me, what can he provide for me, what can he give me, what kind of car can he have me in, and all these other things. It's good that she was speaking of a perspective. You need a woman that can work and all that other kind of stuff. You will work. You'll work at home. A man does not need to make $100,000 to take care of a woman. Why? Because 40, $50,000 will take care of himself. He'll have his
Exactly.
own home. He'll have his own vehicle. He'll have a steady job. He'll have a steady paycheck. All you got to do is enter into his household and follow his direction. See, as long as you don't bring no more bills, he don't need no more money. No, we don't need a woman that's quote unquote educated. You know why? Because you come with student loan debt. We don't need to be paying for that. Come holler at me when your debts is all paid for. Come holler at me when you get done paying for that car that you gonna want me to pay for anyway. See, y'all coming the wrong way, and y'all think that we are supposed to take care of the stuff and the debts that you have created. That ain't the way. You're supposed to come directly from your father's house to your husband and follow your husband's
You
direction.
know,
There is.
I just looked at it.
Mhm.
I just looked it up. I just looked it up. It says the median uh, household income for Black people, the median, like right down the middle, that's
Mhm.
$56,000 a year. That same source says the median Black male income is $53,000 a year. So basically, the median income of Black men and the median household income are effectively the same.
Don't need
So
don't
for a
need a
middle
hundred.
class, so for a middle class household, a median Black man can afford to finance that household per the AI stats here.
And if you add the black woman, you
So
get
so
three
what?
thousand
So
bucks.
so the real issue. So the real issue is exactly. You know, a couple of weekends, you know, a year or whatever, she could earn that. Um, so the real issue, Lena, is not whether or not Black men can afford to take care of a household. The issue is what y'all want them to pay for. That's the real issue.
I was just about to say that
Hence,
because
That's what I was talking
yeah,
about.
hence, a working woman is a sign of poverty. Okay, because now she wants a bunch of stuff for the sake of wanting stuff, not for the sake of even having stuff. They want it for the sake of wanting stuff. Because unfortunately for women, I have moved too many women and found out y'all buy stuff for the sake of saying you bought it. You don't even wear the stuff. How many times have I moved women and they got clothes in the closet, they still ain't took out the packaging? They
with the
still got
tag
the
on it.
store plastic on it. It's been years, man. They buying it for the sake of saying they bought it. They not even wearing the stuff. Y'all just want to spend money so you can say you spent some money. And a person who wants to spend money for the sake of spending money, there is no such income that can satisfy them. That
Yep.
doesn't exist.
Can I say
What?
something real
What?
quick? Oh, man, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
I was saying because the mentality of somebody who wants to spend frivolously without necessarily doing the mathematics of what it's going to cost is somebody who's by definition is always going to be in poverty because you have a poverty mindset. And realistically, bro, if you bring in a woman who has a poverty mindset, all she can do is destroy that house and destroy that family because all she can do is put in was it bad behavior into that children, make you necessarily break your own quote unquote let's say discipline, and herself, she ain't had no discipline in the first place. That's why she attached to you. So a person like that or a woman like that who has that mindset is a very, very a danger to herself and the environment that she in. We call those witches in Africa, but they don't call that in America. But we call those witches, and they stone witches in Africa.
All right, let me say shout out to Guru. He says, I agree with the educated woman idea only if you were there for the journey and help guide her. Finding one who's already educated and leveraging it usually toast and lacking marriage-minded traits. And I'm going to agree. Let's keep it real.
100%.
The only reason women, quote unquote, get educated, in Black America is so they don't have to listen to a man. So a Black
Correct.
woman's education is pretty much useless to Black men. It's pretty much a sign that you're not wife material. And Black women don't like it because they say, see, Black men don't want no educated. It ain't got nothing to do with your education. It's the reason you got educated. You literally got educated to not listen to a man. Why would I want the woman who literally put 4 years or more into gaining some degree to not listen to me? Why would I want her? That don't make no
I
sense.
beg to differ. I
I
beg to
want to
differ
bring
on that.
I want to bring a fine point to this, and then I'll let Lena go. Um, what we're saying, and to clear it up, is your money and your education. It doesn't mean anything to us. When you go out and get money and education before you come to us, you come with this head on your shoulders that that a man can't tell you what to do. We can't guide you. We can't guide you in the way that you should go, and it's useless to us when you come to us like that. If you come to us before that stuff, and I come up with a vision and a plan and put you in it, and you get educated and start making money for the sake of the household and the plan that I gave you, then it's useful to us because you're following our direction. When you guys
Exactly.
get educated and get money, you guys just do what you want to do. You fight us the whole entire way, and it's
Okay, we losing the fire. We losing the fire.
Can
All
I
right,
just say something real quick?
go ahead, Lena.
I just beg to differ about that because women who have degrees are more likely to get married. 20% more likely to get married actually than their non-marriage their non-marriage counterparts, and also people who also are married who are educated are least likely to get divorced. You know that, right? So it would actually be in your best interest to seek an educated woman.
Why?
That's the way my grandma was. She didn't get
Now,
married.
now
She got her degree.
hold on. Let me ask a clarifying question. A couple of clarifying questions.
Hmm.
Are we talking about people, or are we talking about Black people? Because those
People,
are not the
women.
same. Those
No, hold
Oh,
on.
women,
those
black women are
statistics are
people.
not the same. No, those statistics. Listen to me. Listen to me. Stop
Okay.
laughing and listen to me. These statistics are not the same when you account for Black people. The marriage statistics, the longevity statistics, the economic statistics, the statistics of a white woman is very different from those of a Black woman. The statistics from an educated Black woman, very different from an educated white woman. Certainly educated from an Asian woman or a Latino woman. So when
Or
you
an
just
African.
say married people, or throughout these people or men or whatever, you have to focus on Black people. That's why if you listen to me earlier, I cited the statistics for Black households and Black men, not households and not men, because those would be very different numbers.
Man, that's real talk. And shout out to Shark Sims, who seems to be correct. He said, I told y'all, no electricity. Yeah, it does seem like the more exposure y'all get to things such as electricity, the more problematic y'all do become. And we got to be real about that at the end of the day. And I'm gonna say, Lena, this is the thing, okay? Because it ain't about you at the end of the day. This is just about women. Y'all just don't count. And I understand why you don't count. You just don't believe you need to. So you just make decisions without taking the dollars in mind because you don't expect to pay for it anyway. That's how y'all live y'all lives. And at the end of the day, why would I want a Black woman who got educated so she won't listen to me and she's coming with her debt? Because more than likely she has not paid her own debt off. That's something I've paid attention to amongst Black women who get educated. Y'all have no idea how many times I've talked to a woman and she went to college. And see, I've been asking women questions. I asked them about the college debt and they don't pay them off. And what, you want a relationship with me and you owe the school how much money? And I told y'all the biggest number I got. I remember the woman who had 180,000. She still had 2 degrees, wasn't working in neither field, and lived with her parents. And all she really had was a car note. And I'm trying to figure out how you owe 180,000 and your parents basically still paying for everything. All you got is a car note, and you owe 180,000 with 2 degrees. What am I supposed to do with a woman like you? Marry you to pay off your $180,000 debt? Why? No, we can't go out. And I never took out because I asked stuff, y'all. And I've been encouraging people to ask questions at the beginning since I've been on the internet doing this thing. Ask anything you want to know. It's that simple at the end of the day. Ask anything you want to know. It's your life, ain't it? So why can't you ask what you want to know? And I asked women about that.
I agree. You should ask about that. But another thing too, though, it depends how people handle that. Like 180,000. I'm not trying to excuse what she did because that was definitely irresponsible. But I think too, like you could leverage and get out of debt. Like that guy who wrote, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Everybody could.
Robert Kiyosaki.
He wrote Rich Man Poor Dad, and he actually went bankrupt. He owed a bank. Probably somebody asked him, "Well, what you gonna do about all this money that you owe?" And he's still rich, man. He got the money. He's like, "That's not my problem. That's the bank problem." So he still got his money or whatever. But they're trying to get it from him, and they can't. So if you find a way to bend and get out of that, I mean.
So criminal behavior is your best bet.
No.
Hold fast, y'all. Hold fast. First of all,
you realize we voted for a criminal in the White House, right?
Hold fast. Let's keep it real because I don't want nobody to get a false impression. Robert Kiyosaki is a billionaire playing billionaire games. Okay. And when you play billionaire games, especially folks with other people's money and all that, a lot of stuff gets fast and loose when it comes to money. If you don't really get a true understanding of the financial system, those are not the games you want to play. But I got to hold fast for a second because I ain't let my main man, Floyd Thompson, get in. Floyd been up here. My bad, Floyd. I didn't let you get in for the opening statement. You got the flow.
Thanks, Roger, for having me. The last 6 people that spoke, I took all my talking points. That's what I was going to roll in with. It was something Lena said. It spurred me to come up. It gave me time to eat my sandwich. But y'all gave me a good chance to eat my sandwich. I appreciate it. But we got to think about the different classes, y'all. What class is teaching who what? The white community gets together with their kids and teach them how a legacy is going to work. It teaches them how they're going to make some money. It teaches them how they're going to pay for college. It teaches them how to find the right person so you won't come into a marriage with mountains of debt. Teach them how to have social skills. Teaches them how to clean up when they make some food. Teach them how to cook. Teach them how to clean. Teach them how to function properly in society and be productive. Versus our community, which is halfway split because majority of the leaders are not there. So the women rely on social medias and entertainment to guide them, and other friends who don't know squat either. She's jealous. You got a new boyfriend. She got a new boyfriend. She don't have one. She gives all advice on how to sabotage her. But versus the other community, girl, you know what? They talk some money. They talk money. We talk problems. And I land my plane there.
All right.
I'm
gonna say shout out real quick to Rangers. Ranger said, Roger Report, is it possible to get an answer to that financial question? What financial question was he talking? What question were you referring to? Because I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ray. You got to tell me what question you were talking about.
And I'm going to ask Lena. Lena, stay around for the round table afterward, if you could. Because we got a lot.
And the easiest way to remember the question, is to put it in the super chat.
That's a great suggestion by Black Rule. There's a lot of wisdom in that. A lot of wisdom in that.
Smartest man on the panel. Smartest man on the panel.
I wanted to say something. I don't know. I think the last person who has spoke necessarily, right? I disagree. When you keep saying all the leaders are like left and gone, whatever, right? No, the reality is they went to the women who want to be properly led. Like, listen, we got to stop lying to people, bro. Like, for me, I have a non-lying mentality when it comes to everything that I do. At the end of the day, bro, the men who know how to lead and are capable of lead are going to find the women who wants to be led and know that their position in the team. Repeat this: the men who got their stuff together, they're not dealing with this, bro. Like, you see me, bro. I'm in the United States for a little bit. They're out in the United States for a little bit. I come out. I don't deal with certain qualities of women because them women don't qualify for a certain quality man. They only qualify for jailbirds. So I let them, water seek its own level, right? If you don't know how to listen, the only thing you can get is a disturbed dude necessarily with no future, because both y'all have the same future, no future.
Well, I mostly agree with you, but I'm actually got something like that coming up in the show very soon. But you're basically right. I'm gonna say, but this is the thing: a man is with the woman who's worthy. It's not about what men want, because men are the buyers. If you're a woman and you're good enough, you get picked. See, women talk about being a pick me. If you're good enough, you get picked. If you're not good enough, you don't get picked. That's the reality of the world. Because women don't want the responsibility of taking care of a man. And until women actually say they want to take on the responsibility of taking care of men, this just going to be the way that it is. So as long as men are the ones who take it on the responsibility of taking care of the women, if you're good enough, somebody picks you. If you're not good enough, no one picks you. That is reality at the end of the day. Now, if you are married and then the man decides at some particular point that this has to come to an end, that means he thought you was good enough and then found out you weren't. It is what it is. And I understand a lot of people going to say, well, the women file for divorce. If a man really wants you, he going to do all kinds of stuff to make sure the divorce ain't going to happen. But once he let that relationship go, I mean, it is what it is. He not losing something by getting rid of somebody he don't want to pay for. A divorce is a good way to get rid of a person you don't want to pay for. Because at the end of the day, the men are paying. And I understand people can say, well, Rod, you looking at stuff wrong, and that's quote unquote misogynist. No, that's the reality. You pay for the stuff that you want. That's just how the world gonna always work. As long as paying for stuff makes a difference in society, you pay for what you want. That's why nobody can trip when you bought something and you talking about you don't want what you're paying for. Well, why you got it then? If you really don't like it, why you making the payments on it? If you really don't like it, why'd you take your money out your bank account and spend it on this particular thing? And if you really didn't like, well, just give it away. Giving something away is free. And that's the best way to get rid of something that you don't like paying for. Give it to somebody else. Okay? So in reality, until women want to pay for men, this is just the world we live in. If y'all are good enough, y'all are married. But let's keep it real. A working woman is still going to be a sign of poverty. Because if she trusted her man, they would simply make a plan and she wouldn't have to work no more. Ain't nobody with a job just about getting up happy they going to work. People are happy that they have the opportunity to go earn money, but they're really not happy that they get to go to work. I have never, quote unquote, wanted to go to work. I've been to work plenty of times, but not one time did I, quote unquote, want to go to work. No, I went to work because it's necessary for me to get my goals done. But if I can get the same money without going to do anybody's job whatsoever, I've never would have went to anybody's job ever. That's just the realness of it all, But, we want to play with stuff and act like the real world ain't the real world. I worked in fast food twice, y'all. I would have never filled out them applications if somebody else was giving me the money. It just wasn't going to happen. Okay? That's just real talk. Now, unfortunately, I've learned it's probably better to work for something than to take stuff for free, too. I've also learned that. So things can be a little complicated sometimes, but you got to see what's right for you. Shout out to Landon. Landon says, we watch Black women specifically get education to not be dependent on men for the last 40 years. We've heard this out of their own mouths. And Landon is correct. So yes, a black woman getting educated sounds great to anybody who's not a black man. But when you start looking at black women, my question is, how many black women use their education to progress a black family?
Exactly. Because
And think of that statement. We're talking about whether marriage and whether you should marry and all this thing. And think about that statement that he published in the super chat. Then ask yourself this question: is there any other group of female who have publicly asserted that as a reason for why they are getting educated? Can you think of any other group of women who've done that? Who proudly declare, I'm getting a job so I don't have to depend on no man? I mean, I've never heard any other group of women assert that. Any other group of American women, any other group of non-American women. That's a woman that don't deserve to be married. I'm just saying the mentality of that. That's a group of women who really should not be married.
absolutely. I mean, because I don't know. That's how I look at the reality of the world, right? If a woman is going to get educated, right, and the education that she's going to bring back to this house, if the education you bring back to this house does not help this house succeed or grow in any manner, what did you do? You basically paid whatever side amount of money to increase somebody else's bank account. So you took money from this household to quote unquote empower another man's household, and you brought me nothing back. You at that point you are a waste of space necessarily, and you should be dropped, because at the end of the day, if your parent, like when your parents send you to go to the store or whatever, right, and they say go get you a bread, go get it like some milk and some bread or whatever, right, and you come back with was it gummy bears and a packet was it chips, they're looking at you crazy, because at the end of the day we sent you to go get some milk and so whatever, you came back with candy and chips. At this point, me sending you with the money, the time, and the energy is worthless, because at the end of the day, you're not bringing anything of value. Main word, of value to this household. And at that point, I gotta get rid of you. And that's where you kind of say that today. They're getting rid of you.
And now, what happens when women are gotten rid of? She has to go to work. So, y'all, when you can put this in a lot of different ways. But if you really pay attention, you're going to keep coming to the result that she working because she in poverty. She's literally a sign of poverty. If I have a wife, why would I want my wife to be out here working for other people? Now, I'm not saying nobody gets with a woman that's working, but what's the point of her having a job if you're not using that money that she's bringing in from that job to push the family forward? Which I'm going to say is difficult when you deal with most black folks, because amongst black women, they don't trust their husband. So she ain't gonna go to work and then say, hey, here's the money I earn, do something to better our situation. She's not gonna do that. She gonna say, no, this is my money and I want to buy a Chanel bag. No, this is my money and I want to take this trip with my girls. No, this is my money and I need a brand new Benz. And you sit there like, you just got a Benz 3 years ago, but I want a new one. That's what happens. That is the reality. So a working woman is a sign of poverty, because men who make money and their wife trust them. See, that's the trick, y'all. And their wife trust them. Then women ain't got no job. Now, you can say what you want. I'm not trying to make anybody feel some type of way. I understand, even when you talk about married couples, most of them, you have a working wife. Now, why you still have a wife that's working? When y'all gonna do something so she ain't got to work? Now that's on y'all at the end of the day. I can't answer it for you. But since she working, how come y'all ain't making no plan to get yourselves in position where she ain't got to work no more? Or is her earning that money and her being in position to not listen to you so valuable they're giving up their job is just not in the cards. Because I'm talking about somewhere you got to actually come to an agreement on. If a wife really wants her husband to not have to work, her income would be going to position in their family where he don't have to. I know nowadays people think the age of retirement is basically 65. And it's been even up to 67. The age of retirement is just when you can afford to do it. Retirement doesn't have an age necessarily attached to it. It has a dollar amount attached to it. Because there's people who work and they quote unquote retire and then they have to get other jobs because they can't afford retirement. So are they really retired?
The black woman who had the partnership with was it Target or whatever, Tabitha, I think that's her name. What did she do when she got her deal with Target? She retired her husband, who was a police officer. She retired him, and she caught flack from that from black women in social media. She caught flack for that. But she expressed that she was so appreciative of his support and all the risk he took as a police officer, because it's risky being a police officer. And as soon as she was in the position to economically do so, she retired her husband.
Now you know what that sound like? That sound like a man who talked to his wife. They came up with a plan, and he was like, "We green lighting this, let's do it." And he put in the work that it takes for her to be comfortable doing what needed to be done for her to get that deal off the ground. It wasn't like he was just back there twiddling his thumbs. He had to make sure this deal could go through. And a lot of black families could get forward a whole lot more. But when it come down to it, there's a trust issue going on. A lot of y'all think this about money. No, it's about her mentality. That's why them working is a sign of poverty. It's about the fact she don't even trust this dude. And I know some of y'all may say, well, I've been married for 10 years. All right, that's cool and all, but make a plan so y'all can both retire and see what happens.
Roger, I think I may have to fight you on this one again, but about the word selection, because I'm real selective on our diction, the words that we use, right?
Okay, I am too. So what's better word selection? Yeah, what's better word selection?
The proper word we should be using is disobedient to her husband, not quote unquote. What's the word you said earlier? You said doesn't trust her husband.
You don't trust her.
That's a lie, right? Because I guarantee you, she trusts him. She trusts her husband to quote unquote to have sex with him. She would trust her husband to fix that car if the car needs to be fixed. She trusts her husband to quote unquote to go fix that roof if the roof need to be fixed. If anything around the house, protection, whatever, why she already know I'm gonna give this task to that individual man over there, right? So she trusts these facts, right? The word we should be using, disobedient. Right, because regardless if you trust somebody or whatever, right? But if you want to be disobedient, it don't matter how good of a leader they are. You just want to be disobedient.
Well, I'm gonna say two things can be right at the same time, because I'm gonna say you just made a good example about doing some tasks. I'm gonna say most women don't trust their husband to complete a task either. That's why they want somebody else to come in and do the task. How many women done told their husband not to do X, Y, and Z, just get a professional to do it? Because she didn't trust he was going to do it right. So I'm going to say we both can be right. You are correct. You are correct. She is being disobedient. Okay? But I'm not going to give them credit for trusting their husbands either. I'm still not going to give them. If they do, they do. But a lot of them don't. I'm just saying. So you're right. You're right. Because it should be an obedience issue. Why'd you marry a man and you're not going to be obedient to the man that you married? It doesn't make sense. And I'm going to say it's pushing the black community so much that black men don't even want to give women instructions anymore. We do a lot of stuff to avoid instructing a black woman. Because y'all worry about somebody saying you a misogynist, or you're controlling, or you're hateful or something like that. Why she there? She ain't there to do something you told her to do.
Well, why? Their question is, why you give me this instruction? They want to know the end of why you were giving them instruction before they think if they want to do the instruction or not.
So,
Well,
so,
they
Like I
so
said, it's
then,
disobedience, bro.
so let me set y'all niggas straight. In 2026, y'all forget that y'all don't have wives. You only have hoes. Is that what y'all talking
I
about?
keep telling y'all that.
You forgot that part?
hey, usual business. Let us juggle these chainsaws in peace, sir.
Oh my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad.
Five,
No, 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 no.
five tennis balls.
No, no. My thing is this: if the game is put out there, a lot of people possibly will have a wife in the future, but at the end of the day, they'll know what to look for. Because when it comes down to it, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that women have presented to me that has been right, but I knew she just didn't trust men in general, and she was not going to trust me. And a lot of black men, because of your ego, you will say that her not trusting you is somehow about your deficiency. No, it's not about your deficiency. It's about who she is. Women will trust anybody they want to. And that's what a lot of y'all just can't accept because you want to have
Exactly.
control. She trusts who she wants to trust. It has nothing to do with my deficiency. If she don't want to
Yeah,
trust
I
me,
don't know how
that's a
I
hurt.
don't know how you can expect. I don't know how you, and I'm just speaking as a group, how you can expect women born of 3+ generation of baby mamas. I don't know how you can expect them as a
5.
group to trust men. Well, I said 3+. I mean, it
Oh,
depends
you
on
did.
when the baby mama got started.
My bad, my bad,
Could have
my bad,
started
Elder.
in the
My bad.
50s, could have started in the 60s. That's why I said 3+. Um, you after 3+ generations of that, they don't even have a. You know, when you when a woman has been raised in a family in families of husbands, trust is ain't a thing they even think about. He's the man. It's not like it's not something they consciously think about.
Think about it.
Okay, the plumbing's act up. My husband gonna handle it, and that's it. And whether he fixes it himself or hire some people or whether we get a new house, you know, it's all on
Exactly.
him. So it's
Just
not
go down.
even really an issue that comes up. But 3+ generations of baby moms, they have no concept of that by the position of the man. It's the position of the man to handle things. So it's not even really something we're even supposed to be debating. I'm not going to get any more involved. She's not going to get any more involved in that. Then you're going to get involved in her breastfeeding your kids. It's just not your job.
Exactly. It's not your job, bro. Like I keep trying to harken on to this stuff because at the end of the day, it's like, baby girl, if you don't quote unquote want to listen to what I'm telling you to do, then cool, baby girl, then you need to go out there and handle that bit. Somebody break into the front door, you need to be the first one at the front door. Like if you don't want to listen to what I'm telling you, right? See what I'm saying, right? If you don't want to listen, right? Now, cool. If you
But,
want to
but see
listen, then
that.
I will definitely
But
be the
see,
first
here's
person at
where.
that front door if somebody bang on it. But if you
Well, and
want to
that's
tell me I'm
where
gonna do what I want to,
pre-qualification. Well, I was just going to say, because we're kind of debating this whole the woman saying this and thinking this, and the reason why I said 3+ generations, to me, the pre-qualification occurs when you step to her and know she was raised by her father. Her mother never married her father. Her grandmother, never married her grandfather. When you visit her, you interact with her, you talk about her family background, and these things come out. In my view, she's already been disqualified. So you don't even really have to have all of those kinds of debates. Now, whatever you choose to do with her after that, then that's you being a man. But I'm saying, for the most part, these questions are answered without even the debate in most cases.
Yeah, that's real talk. That's real talk. Now we got Red Pill Sleeper Cell who done came up. So let me get him the mic. You got it, my brother.
Here for the round table.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna say in the future, y'all, if y'all just coming up for the round table, just put it backstage. So, and I know not to bring you up, so it's all good. It's all good. Now, again, y'all, there's a lot of reason why it's gonna correlate into working women are a sign of poverty. And this is not me saying that the men who have a working wife are broke. It's about a woman's mentality at the end of the day. She's working because she's actively fighting against poverty. And some of these women are actively fighting against poverty because they will not listen to their husband's instructions. There's women who live with men and they're not married. And she's actively fighting poverty because she won't listen to her man's instructions. Now, she live in a house with him and she giving up the nappy dugout and all that, but she's not going to listen to what that man got to say. And that's why they got separate bank accounts. There's a reason that black men have this idea that I need to be separately I need to have a separate account from a woman. See, women say I need a separate account from a man because I want control. Black men are literally saying I need a separate account from a woman because she'll make me go broke. See how different those things are? One is looking for control. The other one's trying to not go into poverty because of her. Not because of him, because of her. If I give her access to my money, she'll have us both poor. And I'm not saying the guys ain't right. I am not saying they not right. It is a reality that you have to look at.
Here, Roger.
What's that?
Here.
He said here.
Oh, he said here. Okay. Yeah. So at the end of the day, as a man, you living in the world. We know how America is. It already don't like you as it is if you're a black man. So you got to really ask yourself, why is my woman working? Is she working to progress you and your family forward, or is she working to be in rebellion to you? And a lot of us have been trained to accept rebellion. They say things to black men to make you accept rebellion. They'll say things like you're being misogynistic. You ask a person what misogynistic means, most of them don't even know. But all they know is they heard somebody say it and it worked. That's all they know. Ain't none of them ever really looked it up to see what it means. They just heard somebody say it and it worked. So they use it. But that's how women operate. Women have always did stuff to manipulate the world so they can get the outcome they want, because they're not going to fight for anything, not as a collective. They're not going to have any battles. They're not going to have any wars. Women like to get other people to fight their battles for them. So at the end of the day, if you just take stock in yourself as a man, what do I want? I want a woman that's going to help me. Now, y'all, if y'all think about that statement, you should already be able to see why most black women will never really be viewed as any real option for me. Because I want a woman who's going to help me. And y'all hear women use shame language like, see that man begging for help. No, I ain't begging for help. Why would I have you around if you're not here to help? I already got to pay for you. So if you're not going to help me, why would I take on an extra expense if you're not helping? That doesn't make any financial sense. Yeah, I'm going to take her on, but she's not going to help me do nothing. Y'all worry about just cooking and cleaning, which I'm not saying is legitimate things, but she ain't going to help me do squat. A woman who ain't going to even cook for me ain't going to help me do much of anything else. Let's just be realistic about that. If you ain't going to even help me stay alive, if you're not going to cook for me, how you going to go to the grocery store? You don't even know what to buy.
When have you ever heard other people debating about whether a woman should help a man? I mean, think some of this stuff makes sense until you juxtapose it to other groups of human beings, and then you realize how insane some of this is. I mean, in other groups of people, the women feel they desperately feel they must help a man. They're trying to figure out, how can I help a man? How can I be of service of a man? How can he value my contribution to him? And on most of this planet, that's how a female views her relationship to a male. A woman views her relationship to a man. So if we're having this kind of debate, it really speaks to how warped we really are as a group of people. I'm going to stop
Collective
using this term community because that's a gross misnomer. As a
facts.
group of people, it's warped. And the fact that we got to have these conversations really show how far afield from humanity to a large extent, or to a civil society we've become, because no other group of human beings are arguing where the women are asserting that they're not supposed to help a man. No other group of women are doing that. None.
You know what? You actually wrong. There are a group of women who actually do that. You know what they are? They Cleons. They're Cleons. Cleons do that all the time, bro. I don't know if you ever watch Star Trek. They'll come right from the kitchen and stab you.
I don't get the impression that the Cleon females do not help their men. Cleon females die with their men. Cleon females die with their men.
We are timing out usual business. We timing out usual business for the rest of the show.
Now the way they attempt to mate is very Cleon like, but they ain't the down ass chicks that Cleon females are some down ass chicks.
Yeah, but they'll put a motherfucker down for you, bro.
Yeah, they'll ride or die.
Well, the black women now have certain rhetoric amongst them that is completely backward, and to follow Uru's example, they are so far removed from what an actual family is. They believe a family is women and children. They believe that men are supposed to support them. They're not supposed to support their men. They believe that they should be the leaders and the men should not be the leaders. They fundamentally believe these things. They will not say them out loud in some cases because they know it sounds bad, but they say it loud enough that the whole world hears it. And when we challenge them on it, they'll say, "Oh no, it's not quite like that." No, it's exactly like that. You ladies are so far removed from what a family should be, you don't even recognize how bad off you really are.
And that's why I say, that's why I'm saying men gonna have to start taking an inventory of why does your woman want to work.
Roger. Is Black Guru saying that the black women are worse than the Cleon women?
No, he's saying the Klingons are better, and the Klingons are fixing them. But what I am saying though, y'all, you really got to take into account why your woman want to work in the first place. Because be real with yourself. Do you want to work? We're men. Nope. We understand there's a responsibility that goes along with working, and there's things that we need to do. But do you really want to work? We don't really have that as a desire. I don't get up in the morning like, yeah, I can't wait to find a job. I ain't never was like, I can't wait. No, I needed a way to get some money so I can afford some of this stuff I wanted. It wasn't working that I wanted to do. It was the necessary thing to buy the stuff. That's all it was at the end of the day. Okay. And that ain't gonna never change. Because if I can understand how to make the money work for me, while I cannot work myself, then I'm always gonna lean toward that direction. That's what business is, y'all. You grow a business to where the money works for you, and you ain't got to work for it no more. That's what we trying to achieve as people. So be realistic with yourself.
But the wealthy, but to be the wealthiest people are usually the hardest working people. I mean, wealthy people are working all the time. They're working all the time. They're working like they're every waking moment.
No, that is true, and I wouldn't debate that. But I'm just going to acknowledge that they're a different group than the rest of us. They're not normal. Okay, when you look at how the rest of us act and you compare it to them, they are just not normal. At the end of the day, the normal person wants to figure out how not to work, and that's just reality.
Well, I want to.
Can I say it again?
I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get this point out. we already know as men it's not normal to want to work. So now knowing that as a man and knowing all the responsibilities that we do, that we go to work because we have to carry these certain responsibilities, you really got to ask yourself a question. Why does my woman want to work? What is her what is her end goal? We know it's so we can be in position to pay these bills and take care of this and, make sure everything is good with ourselves and our family. But what's her purpose? You really got to ask yourself that question, and you better come up with an actual answer so you can know where you are. But go ahead.
Your job as a dirty Negro, your job is to protect, provide, and shut up. And you're out here complaining. Go to work.
Man, you forgot the most important part with leadership, though, bro. You forgot that part.
Hey, you
he cracking a joke. He didn't forget. He did not forget. He cracking a joke.
Let me set your let me say it like that. Let me set y'all niggas straight. Y'all are niggas. Y'all ain't no leaders. All of a sudden, you thought you are some white man or something? Bunch of niggas.
I thought I was a man, but whatever.
Listen, I wanna speak on this misnomer. I said this before. I'm gonna say this time and time again. Every man that gets up and goes to work, puts a roof over his head, pays his bills, finds his way to work every day to take care of himself, is worthy of being a husband. I don't care if you make $10 an hour. It doesn't matter. This $100,000 thing, women need to stop. You just need to stop. Most of y'all ain't making $100,000 and y'all seeking $100,000, and most of y'all ain't worth $10 put together.
They're not even seeking $100,000. Again, women don't count. They want multi-millionaire lifestyles, and they're dumb enough to believe $100,000 a year is going to get you that. While spending the way they want to spend the money. I'm gonna say that because I'm not gonna say you can't become a millionaire making a six-figure income, but they want to spend the money and still be a multi-millionaire because they don't count. And that's just something we have to accept about women. They really don't actually count.
Yeah, the point I'm making, I agree with you. The point I'm making is every man with good character and a good work ethic is worthy of being a husband and is worthy of having the best kind of wife. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You're worthy of it.
What the thing is, see, I've already accepted that we're worthy, but what I'm trying to get men to understand, and that you need to really start conveying this to women. The fact that you have a job is saying something about you, and it's really related toward poverty. We gonna really have to start looking at women, knowing that if she's working, it's a sign of poverty. Now don't get it twisted. My mama worked, but didn't I tell y'all my mama got divorced? Didn't I tell y'all that?
You did say
that. My daddy don't work.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that to throw shade at my mom. I'm just saying that's a reality. Okay, that is a reality. Now, I ain't gonna take too much of her business, but I'm just gonna say, my daddy don't worry. He don't worry about that no more. He get up and do what he want to do. You know what I'm saying? My daddy missed a football game because he tried to watch it on Monday, and because he wasn't keeping track of the days enough to know Sunday had passed. Now he ain't got dementia, nothing. He just wasn't keeping track. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm saying that because I believe it's a wonderful thing that my daddy ain't got to worry about when Monday is and when Sunday is. You see what I'm saying? I like that.
He a Rams fan. He just ain't want to tell you. That's all that
That didn't come up just recent. I'm sure he watched the game yesterday. I'm 100% sure of that. Real talk. I'm pretty sure he watched the game. I ain't even talked to him, but I'm sure he saw that game. It is, but at least we had something to see, though. At least we had something to see. It wasn't over to the very end for us, but that ain't about what the show was about. But I want men to really start. Look, when women gonna keep coming at us about other stuff, you just need to remind them, look, I understand the way you feel because you're poor. Okay? You have a poor woman's attitude. And stop letting a woman tell you she ain't poor if she got a job. That's something poor women do. Because men should work. Because some of us do. Somebody got to keep society going, and somebody got to create change in society and things like that. So people have to evolve. So I'm never gonna say men from a collective standpoint shouldn't work, but a woman working is just a sign of poverty. That's all it is. And it's nothing else to it at the end of the day. There's literally no reason why a woman should be working right now, outside of the fact that she's poor. Because if she's a girl, she should be living with her daddy, and her daddy gonna put her in a position where she ain't got to work because he gonna pay the bills. And truth be told, if she's older, she should be married to a husband that put her in a position where she don't have to work. And when a woman starts talking about she got to work because y'all ain't doing it, no, she just don't count. Okay, and I don't know why y'all so cool with people who can't count. I'm joking. I know they can count. I know they can. But at some point in time, you got to hold them accountable for being able to count. That's why I don't pay no attention when women start talking all this stuff about, well, women got to work because y'all don't make this. No, in reality, they just working because they don't want to listen to you. And that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Like I say it's more or less. I say a little bit different than Roger. I say like she's so disobedient. So by her nature, her being disobedient, she can't quote unquote what is it? She has to be poor. Because if you disobedient, you don't listen to anybody. By definition, you ain't gonna be able to keep no job. You can't keep no relationship. So the only relationship you actually can keep is poverty. That's the only relationship you can keep, being disobedient.
Now, I want y'all, the next time you think about some woman telling you that you don't make enough, I want you to keep in mind, every time you've heard a sister who was married to a white man. Think about that.
She took care of him.
No. How many? I mean, y'all hear stories now because of social media. How many black women got a white man that out-earned her? Because when you look into the stories, even when it comes to the celebrities, they be millionaires and whatnot. The woman usually got way more millions than he got. Or if you hear a story about regular working people, that woman's usually making a bigger income than he has, and she good with it. She ain't treating him like a black man where she trying to control them and all that type of stuff or emasculate him or anything like that. She's just good with it. Why? Because he white. Now, my thing is that means something. Because if you can do it for them, then you can do it for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all about choice at the end of the day. But y'all, we are 7 minutes past the 3 hour mark, and I'm trying to get off air. So we finna close it down. That's gonna have to be the last word. Just is what it is on this one, y'all. But y'all take care. I'm glad y'all tuned in. Be with us tomorrow morning. We're gonna have another fire show. We'll just wait for it. Just wait for it. And I'll see y'all next time around. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.
Yeah.